for years. And their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's Downtown Spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
We take our college football Saturdays so seriously at 93.7 The Ticket that one post-game show simply isn't enough. Join Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and DP for The Ticket postgame. 90 minutes following each Nebraska game at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. They'll break down the game from their vantage point and bring in special guests as well, with giveaways to listeners who drop by. It's The Ticket postgame with Jay Foreman and DP at Tanner's Bar and Grill. Sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning and Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Tailgating is back, and Sartor Heyman Jewelers is offering a deal that'll really fire you up. Receive a free Traeger grill with a purchase of $2,500 or more. Take advantage of interest-free financing with no money down. Sartor Heyman has dazzling jewelry in every price range, so buy her the diamonds she's been dreaming of and get instantly rewarded with a free Traeger grill. Offer ends soon, so hurry in and get them while they're hot. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
For a lot of us, it's back to the office and back to school time. Establishing a consistent bedtime and wake time routine is very, very important because quality sleep helps boost energy, recovery, and well-being. Sleepers who routinely use their Sleep Number 360 smart bed featuring the Sleep IQ technology get almost 100 hours more proven quality sleep per year. Set up a routine. That's really important. Go to bed and wake up at the same time, even on weekends. Dim the lights at least 1 hour before bedtime. Also helps having that Sleep Number bed. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. Proven quality sleep is game-changing. Find out about your Sleep Number. My Sleep Number setting is 100. Save up to $900 on the Sleep Number 360 smart beds, plus special financing. For a limited time only at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com/Patrick. Subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payments are required. See sleepnumber.com for details.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Coming off a win against Buffalo, the Nebraska football team sets their sights on number 3 Oklahoma. Head coach Scott Frost spoke yesterday about their upcoming opponent.
It's a talented team. Wow, you turn it on and the speed just pops out right away. Every position, the size and speed of the guys. So really encouraging our guys to execute the same way we have been and improve that, but try to do it at absolute fast as possible because I know the speed of Oklahoma is going to be a little different than what we've seen the last couple weeks.
The Huskers and the Sooners kick off at 11 a.m. on Saturday as the big noon game on Fox. The 6th-ranked Nebraska volleyball team will play the 16th-ranked Stanford Cardinal today out in California. This is the 3rd straight top 20 matchup for the Huskers. First serve is scheduled for 7 p.m. on Pac-12 Network and will be carried on the Huskers Radio Network. Monday Night Football saw the Las Vegas Raiders take down the Baltimore Ravens 33-27 in overtime. The Raiders scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, including a 55-yard field goal with 2 seconds remaining to force OT. Next up for the NFL, a Thursday night matchup between the New York Giants and the Washington football team. For all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
We failed, but I thought it was a great effort. I thought that the plan was laid out perfectly.
Jake Bockoven.
I'm not sure I get my point across properly. I'm sure I don't do a good job of explaining what I mean.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Oh, yeah. We're at Chick-fil-A today, 48th and O location. We're at Chick-fil-A every Tuesday. It's Tailgate Tuesday, for crying out loud. It is back. Stop by Chick-fil-A locations, either this one or the one at South Point. Use your Chick-fil-A app to order or scan, get your rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people. Bock says he would eat it all by himself. He wouldn't actually have a Husker tailgate. He would just eat it in his basement by himself and not even share with his wife or his brand. Well, you don't want to feed babies. Probably still in the split pea zone.
Well, he is. No chicken nuggets yet.
That's right. No chicken nuggets, no fresh fruit, no iced tea or lemonade. That's what you'll get. The winner will be drawn tomorrow and contacted by Chick-fil-A. Welcome, Bock. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. It's been an overcast day. I personally love the fall a little bit more than the summer, so it's starting to feel a little more like football season to me.
You like fall? I mean, if spring could be replaced with fall, would you? I mean, and football season were during the spring. Would spring be better than the fall?
No. I personally like the rain, the falling of the leaves, Halloween. Yeah. I mean, just everything that kind of goes into fall.
I guess it's just the dread of winter for me. But I do like fall weather. I love it perfectly. I've always said fall golfing is the best. And a lot of times you get a tee time this time of year when you can't during the summer. So I dig that. I dig it big time. But, yeah, you're right. It's a little overcast, a little hazy. I'm getting hungry because we're staring at the big board right now. We can see all the fabulous food here at Chick-fil-A where we are for Tailgate Tuesday. Every day. Have you decided what you're going to eat at 2:00?
I might try that salad you've been talking about that you've had a few times. Spicy
you always
Southwest,
say that. You always say that. Right. And when push comes to shove, you'll say, yeah, but I'm a man. I got to have chicken. I got to have lots of chicken, and I got to have those waffle fries. You'll bail. My prediction is that you will bail on the salad at 2:00. As good as that Southwest chicken salad is, and it is delicious. And with the spicy cream whatever that is on top. It's fantastic. It's salad dressing, of course. And that's where we're going to be at 2:00. After we get done here, we're going to stay here and then eat. So it's going to be really good. It's Oklahoma week, Bock.
That's right.
Are you freaking out?
I'm not as quite as hyped as I really would hope that I would be. Maybe it's because of the 24-point spread. I think that
it's
really
23.
23. Okay,
it's only 23.
I shouldn't. Sorry,
maybe
Nebraska.
22 and a half. So
I think it's just that Illinois game. I think as a Husker fan base, you're kind of over it, right? You've moved on with the performances the last 2 weeks. It just hurts for the hype up for this game, right? I mean, if you would have been 3-0 going into this game, feeling like you got a chance, I feel like that spread would be down quite a bit. Either way, I think we all counted it as a loss likely coming into the season. It's just, I think that took the wind out of the sails for a little bit of this. But for the most part, I still can't complain. I've said this before when they threatened to take this game away from us. If you had any non-conference matchup, any game that you could play, Oklahoma's it. Oklahoma's at the top of that board. I know a lot of fans would love to see Nebraska play Oklahoma annually. Now, that might not have gone well over the last 6 or 7 years, but even still, I'd still love to see it.
I feel bad for people who didn't live through the 70s, 80s, and 90s and see those great, well, not the 90s. Oklahoma was terrible. Oklahoma actually is going through a drought. Was going through a drought in the 90s like Nebraska's going through right now. The first 7 years I read of the 90s, I want to say early 90s, like 92 to 98 or 9, Oklahoma lost 40 games.
Jeez.
And that's actually I think 5 years. That was a 5-year span. They lost 40 games in the early 90s. Guess how many Nebraska has lost in the last 5-year span under Mike Riley and now Scott Frost.
Is it 40?
It's 40.
Oh, we're there. We did it. We're 90s Oklahoma.
So congratulations. I think at that time they had 5 straight non-winning seasons, and Nebraska's going through 5 straight losing seasons. Of course, this year could snap that, right? And beating Oklahoma this weekend would stop that streak. Theoretically, you go to Michigan State, you're on a roll, homecoming the following week. This is a chance, if not to win, and I don't think a lot of us think that Nebraska is going to win. We're hoping they play well. But how well? I mean, did they have to play perfect, you think?
I think pretty close to it. I mean, again, it's kind of weird, and it tells you where you are as a Nebraska fan. And this happens in a lot of blowout wins where, you make mistakes in, no matter what fan base you are in. If you win by 25, you don't get that upset about it. But I think that we all saw a lot of progress in a game where you had 9 penalties and left almost 30 points on the field. Right. That's kind of weird. That tells you where your team's at. But even still, I think that they did gain confidence out of that. You have to remember, I mean, Oklahoma's got some serious team speed and the advantage in most places on the field, but it's still 11 on 11. They still have to go out there and get that win. And in college football, we've seen upsets can happen. You don't necessarily have to be the better team every day. You can just maybe do it that day. And I think Nebraska's at least got a shot. And it's interesting because, we talk about how Scott Frost, if they lost to Buffalo, Scott Frost, the writing's on the wall. He's sitting out there with Clay Helton maybe already. But if he wins this game, then the narrative completely flips in 2 weeks from he needs to be fired or he's close to getting fired to, now there's the momentum. There's the huge win that Nebraska might be on their way back. So it can flip pretty quickly. You don't expect it to happen, but having that opportunity there, whether it's Oklahoma or Ohio State later in the season, to get the best win that Nebraska's had since the 2010s, maybe even before that, maybe 2001 against Oklahoma. Just to have that opportunity is special and something you got to take advantage of, at least play well.
And we'll break down the game more as the week goes along. I'm mostly looking at peripheries today. It was interesting. They asked some of the players about the Oklahoma-Nebraska series. And, obviously this is the 50th anniversary. And Matt, I think it was Luke Reimer actually that thought that's 1960 something, and it was 71 game, but that's okay. I do think the players should be required to take that history class taught by Jason Peters, something, and you should have to answer basic questions like who coached Oklahoma in the 70s. Bock?
Oh yeah, Barry Switzer.
There you go. See, Bock would pass the test, but a lot of these players would not if they think the game of the century happened in 1960 something. No, it was 1971. Lived through all those games, watched most of them, with the family on Thanksgiving. It was just great memories. I mean, I remember being nervous as hell, and Jeff Kenny going over from the 2-3 yard line to win the 1971 game. I still remember it vividly. I don't remember most things in my life at all. I mean, I don't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can remember that. And I can remember the punt return, the Johnny Rogers punt return. And I can remember some of the great plays and the great players in those games. And I hope that this is more than just a one-time thing for Nebraska, Oklahoma. I would love for it to come back a little bit, maybe, at least every 5 years or something like that. It shouldn't be 11 years. Yeah, it shouldn't be once every 11 years. I mean, none of these players even, a lot of them were 10 or 11 when that last game was played against Oklahoma. I think it's something that we should just do on a regular basis.
Yeah, it'd be great. And it's I'm going to do my top 10 box tops today is about the top 10 rivalries for Nebraska. And it's just interesting to compare those times to now and, how there'll just never be in Oklahoma. Colorado got a lot of flack back in the day saying, well, they'll never be Oklahoma. And maybe they weren't, but that was still quite a rivalry. Right. That's what this thing used to be. It was one of the best in the nation. Like you said, Thanksgiving, you're usually determining who was going to win the Big Eight, go on to play the Orange Bowl. Yeah. In those years, I think 5, 6, 7 times between Nebraska and Oklahoma, it was the one loss for whoever won that game. It was the one loss that kept the other team out of the national title game. So, these were huge games, big stakes, and that's what you can't quite replace. Iowa, for as much as that rivalry has been gaining steam. You just can't replace that with the stakes that were on the Nebraska-Oklahoma game back in the day. So it's kind of sad. I'll admit I was kind of on the back half. I was kind of in the Big 12 North, Big 12 South days of Nebraska-Oklahoma. You still had some fun battles in 2000 and 2001 there, but I understood even at the time it wasn't quite the same as it was in the 70s, 80s, and maybe leaking into the 90s there too. So it's always been frustrating. It's I think another reason for Texas actually to be on that rivalry list is because Oklahoma just kind of hooks themselves to Texas, and Texas has destroyed the Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry. Right. Texas has now destroyed the Oklahoma-Oklahoma State rivalry.
Congratulations, Texas. Way to go.
Yeah, Oklahoma just tags along and lets Texas ruin the rivalries.
We can't have nice things because of Texas.
That's right.
Did I say Switzer was the coach of that team? Fairbanks was the coach of that team. Switzer was the coach of the offensive coordinator, later took over about the same time that Tom Osborne took over. Tom Osborne was the offensive coordinator. Barry Switzer was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma in the game of the century. Fairbanks, you're right.
Okay.
And Bob Devaney was, of course, the head coach at Nebraska. If I said on the 71 team,
you just said the 70s in general.
Yeah, I said the 70s. A little bit later on in the 70s, Barry Switzer took over, and then Tom Osborne couldn't beat him. I think he went, 5-6 straight years.
Yeah.
Finally wins that 1978 game. Jim Pillen jumps on the fumble at the 3-yard line. 9 fumbles that day from Oklahoma. And Billy Sims, who was the best running back that I'd ever seen up until that point, and maybe still now one of the top 5 ever as far as talent. And then Nebraska recovers it. They get a first down to get it out of their own goalpost. They had to get a first down. They did, able to kill the clock. And then Nebraska dominated in the 80s with the triplets, and that series started to shift Nebraska's way. And then Charles Thompson was it that took over at quarterback some of those great games in the 80s. I think Oklahoma had the upper hand in the late 80s, and Nebraska just dominated the 90s in that series. I mean, to the point where it was like 69-7 in some of those games. I mean, it was just a thumping from Nebraska. And now we kind of expect the reverse.
Oh, yeah. And then if you keep telling the story, Oklahoma kind of retook the rivalry in the 2000s.
Yeah. So. I don't want to tell. I don't want to tell that part of the story.
So it's interesting. Did you, just as a fan, again, having not lived through the 70s or 80s, would you say in those decades, which one was more contentious between Nebraska and Oklahoma?
Tom Chattel wrote about it, and I think it's true. Fans have revisionist history about the Nebraska-Oklahoma series. Barry Switzer was not popular, and they were the outlaws. I mean, they had, that's what ultimately ended the Barry Switzer era. Is they were literally outlaws at the end of the 80s. So there was that, and they always thought that was fishy. The way it wasn't fishy, he was cheating. That's what Switzer did. But Oklahoma also drew itself, so he was getting the best option quarterbacks. He ran this style of offense that we kind of did the same thing, but out of the eye. So there was a little bit of a competition for a lot of the same quarterbacks. Nebraska ended up getting Turner Gill, and that turned the tide. Barry Switzer says to this day, we had him on 5 years ago, and he said, if I would have gotten Turner Gill, that never switches. Yeah, we would have owned that. We would have owned it, but he didn't. And so those are some of the memories I have.
So you don't buy into the respectful rivalry. You think there was more hatred?
No, there was a lot of hatred. Yeah, I remember. Boz. Nobody liked it. Like Brian Bosworth. And then he had that feud with Broderick Thomas. Nobody comes into our house and takes the keys to our house. And I think they were holding keys after that game, after they won that game. I think there was a little more. Yes, you respected their fans. And I think Nebraska fans, Oklahoma fans respected Nebraska. I think that's where the respect comes from.
Yeah. Just the love of college football.
Yeah. But Keith Jackson one makes you tear your hair out. I mean, the guy was incredible. And Buster Rhymes playing 10 years at Oklahoma, and Billy Sims. I mean, they had some of the most incredible athletes, and you knew Nebraska would have to, kind of feels like this week, you had to play perfect to have a chance to win. Now, Tom Osborne coached teams sometimes did play perfect, and that's why you were able to stay close in some of those games where Oklahoma just had dramatically more talent. But when they got Turner Gill, the tides flipped. Players wanted to come play with Turner Gill. And you also had Irving Fryer and your Mike Rozier and a great offense. Not a very good defense. I contend Nebraska would have won at least one, probably two championships in the 80s if they would have had any semblance of defense.
Yeah, and they were the winningest team of the decade. People, you kind of glance over that because they didn't end up winning a national title, but of course they had a chance there a few times. I mean, for my memories of Oklahoma, I still go. You go back to 2001 for me. Obviously, where Eric Crouch kind of had his Heisman play, and that was just a great game. I think that was 1 versus 2, or it was pretty darn close to it.
Yeah.
And then obviously for Nebraska fans too, the best good memory you have. It would have been great to leave the Big 12 beating Oklahoma. It would have been just perfect, but they ended up losing that Big 10 title game. But the year before, in 2009, Matt O'Hanlon's Defensive Player of the Week, 3 interceptions on Landry Jones, and Nebraska ended up winning 10-3 because Prince Amukamara brought the offense just couldn't score. Prince Amukamara brought the interception return basically to the goal line for their only touchdown. But that was a great game. And I told you, I've been talking all week how I love defensive battles. I went to that game too. That was not
fun. Let's be honest, that wasn't a great Oklahoma football team.
No, it wasn't. That was a barely ranked.
They were barely ranked. It wasn't like 2001 where you beat them and they were much better. They didn't end up.
But I don't have too many memories to pick from of Husker victories over Oklahoma, so I'm just jumping to. But it was a great great even. I'll even argue this. When we talk about the great teams, I've seen somebody, just online, just younger fans saying 2009 was a great team because it was the best team they'd seen. 2009 in the pantheon of Nebraska football was an okay team. They finished in the top 15.
It should have been better than that.
Yeah, but every one of Tom Osborne's bad teams were just as good as the 2009.
They gave away obviously we think they should have won the Texas game, but that Iowa State game that year.
Oh yeah, they started 4-3, lost to Texas Tech.
It was terrible. I remember Nebraska getting in field goal range, and they would fumble and fumble again and fumble again. And the student section by the end of that game just yelled, "Kick it on first down, kick it, get a field goal," because you felt like any points would have won that game. That was a great team, but it was also typical of the Pelini era. Still frustrating.
Yeah, a great defense. No, one of the best Nebraska defenses of all time.
Oh, easily.
The offense left alone.
Easily. That defense was as good as a lot of defenses I saw in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
It was really, really good. Off the text line, 464-5685, the Sutter Heyman text line, a Honda of Lincoln hotline. Of course, you can find us on Twitch and YouTube. And what's the other
Facebook,
one? Facebook. There you go. Off the text line, got screwed at Penn State in 82. Yeah, of course, everybody knows that instant replay. If that would have been around, they were not out once, but twice on that drive, out of bounds on catches. And Tom Osborne, I think, has said he thinks that 82 game or 82 team was better than the 83
And
team.
that Penn State team went on to win the title.
They did.
Yeah,
They
so
did.
I mean, it's not like you barely lost to a bad team.
Todd Blackledge, the leader
That's
of that
right.
band back in the day. Don't hate OU, but I do hate Texas. You go along with that?
Well, yeah, I think there's more of a hatred for Texas. Oklahoma, again, I think there's just that I don't know, there's just that special feel of getting together on Thanksgiving, having that rivalry. It just I have a hard time, finding out which I guess way is the right way, whether Nebraska and Oklahoma have a lot of hate, because I kind of felt that for them at a time, or there's a lot of mutual respect there. But as compared to Texas, I mean, there's no mutual respect at all even discussed. So
no, that's true.
I think there's more hate.
Yeah. Well, Texas just goes deeper than football. I think Oklahoma is based on football. Texas is based on politics. Because they're not very good at football. And I think that's another thing that frustrates Nebraska fans. They have all this power, and yet they're not good.
Yeah.
That drives me kind of – I'm getting angry right now just talking about it. Did you watch the Monday night game last night?
I watched a little bit. I watched the end of it. It was a fun ending to the game.
Went to overtime. I don't think that – in fact, I know Baltimore's, I think, won every game where they've been up by 14 over the last 5 years, whatever it is. And they were up 14 last night. Lamar Jackson fumbled 3 times. That hurt. But it went back and forth. Derek Carr was great. And they end on a walk-off in overtime. That was pretty cool. And their field goal kicker also made a 55-yarder to get it to overtime.
Yeah. That's the where I kind of tuned in, was thinking that game was over, and they just hit a couple passes to get somewhat into field goal range, and he hit the long one. So, I mean, that's a fun opening night of Monday Night Football. I know the Mannings did their thing. People really like that.
That was cool.
I just, I kind of miss what happened to the 2 Monday Night Football games to open the season. That's what normally we do in the NFL.
Right.
I kind of miss that.
Yeah, I do. But you can't argue with the first 2 games that we saw. The Cowboys in Tampa was great.
Oh, yeah.
that's right. And last night's game was great. So the NFL, I'm guessing, is going to be surprise number one in the ratings again.
King again.
Yeah, I mean that mantle is never going to fall for the. I mean, maybe it will at some point. Rome falls.
Yeah, it's just hard to envision how.
It's hard to ever believe in our lifetime that the NFL will not be king of all sports, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to phase out, I guess, the hitting, and maybe some successfully and some not. You wonder about that aspect of it if it becomes, it's just too violent. We can't play this anymore.
Yeah.
And then
what it will turn into.
Yeah. What will it turn into? But it hasn't affected the ratings so far. They're doing really well. The Big Ten did really well in their ratings. Football is king right now in this country.
That's the way we like
Not
it,
soccer,
especially
football. Baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Where were you in the dance rankings on DP's dance rankings?
I think I was 7th and you were 6th. I had to go back and look.
You were behind me?
I was behind you, which is, I don't know how good you are at dancing, but it's probably pretty fair. I'm not a dancer.
I'm
myself.
a terrible dancer. In fact, I even took dance lessons just to learn how to do some basics.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's why you should be higher up on the list.
I really should be, but I don't. I mean, I remember this lady going, I don't know what the hell you're doing. And it was just a two-step.
Who taught you this?
It was, remember the Dodens? Or you're a long-time Lincolnite.
Yeah.
They used to teach out at the Playmore. They might still.
Okay.
They would have to be 105 by now.
Yeah.
But maybe they're still doing it.
They might.
But I took it from, I think her name was Roberta Doden. And she tried to teach me how to dance step, and it was in her garage. And she said I was okay by the end of it. But I don't think she was amazed.
Just being nice.
My feet won't do what I tell them to do. But I think it would be close between you and I.
Yeah, I just don't have a go-to move. I don't know what to do. Usually I'm
surprised by that. Usually have something planned.
Yeah. I got nothing. Not when it comes to dancing.
Got nothing on dancing. Who was number one? Was it DP?
Yeah, I think DP put himself on number one. I'd have to go back and look.
He has a lot of power. He's our owner, so he's number one.
He's number one in everything.
So congratulations, DP, the best dancer in the building. I am 6th. Bock is 7th in the latest AP coaching.
That's right. Yeah,
it may not be the final ranking.
That's right. This is the start of the dancing season.
This is just start of the dancing season. Let's talk. There's not a lot to talk about in recruiting, but he could definitely help us break down last week's game versus Buffalo and talk about the Oklahoma game with us for sure. Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com next on Tom and Bock.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Who wants to have some fun, Nebraska? Who wants to win 2022 bucks? Who wants to win $1 million? Who wants to enter the Nebraska Lottery's Powerball's Rockin' 15 promotion? Hey, until September 25th, buy a Powerball with Power Play ticket to enter. 15 lucky people will win 2022 bucks and have a chance to win $1 million on New Year's Eve.
Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million. Tailgating is back, and Sartor Heyman Jewelers is offering a deal that'll really fire you up. Receive a free Traeger grill with a purchase of $2,500 or more. Take advantage of interest-free financing with no money down. Sartor Heyman has dazzling jewelry in every price range, so buy her the diamonds she's been dreaming of and get instantly rewarded with a free Traeger grill. Offer ends soon, so hurry in and get them while they're hot. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
With today's Husker Radio Report, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com. As Nebraska gets ready for their trip out to Oklahoma, as you know, it's the 50th anniversary of the 1971 game of the century. And as Scott Frost gets his guys ready in practice, he said there'll probably be a few history lessons throughout the week.
I will probably talk about it a little bit. This is a special rivalry.
but I'm sure the guys will be inundated with it this week.
And as senior wide receiver Samore Torre said, the bottom line is this is a great opportunity for the program.
This is a huge opportunity for us, something that's been in the back of our heads all year. Big game, obviously, and we're looking forward to having a good week of practice, to get ready for it.
In injury news, Nebraska hopes to get tight ends Austin Allen and Travis Vokalek this week back, as well as wide receiver Oliver Martin, offensive lineman Brock Mando, and a number of others. Reporting here with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.
At Eustis Body Shop, the health and safety of team members, customers, and the communities they serve is of utmost importance. All locations remain open and committed to serving customers. For the safety of customers, Eustis Body Shop has an online estimating tool to assess damages without bringing your car to the shop. When you're ready for repairs, they'll pick up your vehicle, complete repairs, and sanitize the interior before delivering it to you. Eustis Body Shop thanks you for your support and looks forward to serving you as we navigate these difficult times. Details at EustisBodyShop.com.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Tailgate Tuesday live at Chick-fil-A.
There it is. Yep, we're repeating ourselves.
You can hear that we are talking back in the speakers, so if somebody could turn that down, that would be fantastic. Stop by Chick-fil-A, either location, all day today. This location, of course, at 48th and O, or at South Point, you can use the Chick-fil-A app to order or scan to get rewards points, and you'll be registered for a free tailgate meal for up to 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, that's fresh fruit, that's iced tea, and that is lemonade, Bock.
There we go. Yeah, that's, and I don't hear anything reverberate. You sound good now.
Oh, I do?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Jake fixed it as always. He fixes everything that's wrong in our lives. By the way, that chicken nugget meal along with the fresh fruit, iced tea, or lemonade we'll call on you, but we'll let you know tomorrow. Brian Munson joins us of HuskerOnline.com. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not much, just hanging out. Tailgate Tuesday at Chick-fil-A. We were ranking the dancers. Bock, I think, is ranked 7th in the latest ticket dance poll, and I'm 6th. Where would you rank among Robin, Sean, and yourself? Dance moves.
Well, I got to give the edge to Sean, man. I mean, that dude's on the dance floor quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
Shaking the tail feather. I used to be in my Spelter, earlier years, was able to do some break dancing a little bit. Now it's more like I'm just kind of in the back doing the hard to see what is love kind of thing, moving my neck side to side and my head side to side. That's about all I got.
That's right. Now you're semi-retired, so you'll just get out there during a wedding or a special occasion. I get it. Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com. So there's not a lot of recruiting news to talk about, but one guy did stick out that had a good week that's currently committed to Nebraska, Ashton Hayes. In fact, he's had several good weeks, but he's up to 651 yards. He has 11 TDs. He's averaging 10 yards a carry. This might be a steal for Nebraska.
Absolutely. And we've talked about it a little bit about, what do you do in a smaller recruiting class? I think Ryan Held really hit the nail on the head in kind of the spirit of that is you got to go find a guy with a different skill set. You've got to find somebody that doesn't look like the other guys you already have back there stockpiled with that position, and you lose Wandale Robinson because he's, not really a running back, but you had to play him back there because of a slug of injuries. And, now you need a guy that probably lines up more as a running back, but then has an ability to kind of do some things out of slot and as a returner. And that's what Hayes gives you. And he is a big playmaker. The 10 yards per carry average is huge. You can see when you put on the film, he has got that fifth gear and he can get through the gears very, very quickly. So huge get for Nebraska, sneaky part of that class, being really good because of other guys in Nebraska seemed like they could get, and then obviously they decided to go with Hayes.
Now, obviously, it is a small class, and they have a lot of those guys already committed. Is there a date that they're circling as far as like the big home game they're going to bring everybody in for? Is that a homecoming?
I think Nebraska's really was well. So you were up against some hard times this last weekend, right? You can't go toe to toe with game day being in Ames, for example. You can't really get some of the guys to kind of make their way over to Lincoln because they'd rather go to Ames in that situation, and that's understandable. But I think Nebraska is going to find a weekend or two coming up, whether it's Northwestern or something else, where they're going to have to bring in some guys. Obviously, they lose Valen Erickson a week ago. There's no offensive lineman in the class. You still have got 2 spots there, and you've got 3 defensive backs you're trying to get. We know of maybe 2 official visitors that are coming in coming weeks. So things are very, very slow right now, and we know of nobody on the offensive line that basically has any type of official visit set up or is even considering Nebraska at the moment.
Yeah, it's it's a small class. That explains part of it. Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com. We know Nebraska, Brian, has struggled in the run game, and we've been trying to figure out who the running back will be. We thought it was Marquise Stepp, who had 100 yards, just over 100 yards versus Fordham. And this week he only gets 9 carries for 17 yards. And you had a nice performance, not a great performance from Gabe Irvin, and Sevion Morrison didn't play a ton either. What's your read on the running back room and who's eventually going to take ownership of that position?
Yeah, I have a lot of the same questions that you guys do, because it's like we think that we know something or trying to apply it from one week to the next, and it seems to kind of go down that path, and all of a sudden it seems to kind of change like mid-story. And you also aren't seeing the same type of production, from one week to the next when it comes to Fordham to Buffalo for Stepp. And, and I think that there's something to be said about going with the hot hand, and taking the guy that does the best or finishes the week the best. But the bottom line is this, is that consistency really is developed around personnel. And you want a bunch of interchangeable parts, but the bottom line is there are not a bunch of interchangeable parts right now currently in Lincoln. You've got guys that don't do the same things, together on the football field. So you've got to get down to basically figuring out who that guy is. I still think it's going to be Irvin or Step. I thought I saw a little bit more of the light coming on with Irvin last week against Buffalo. I guess I probably would say I could see Irvin leading them out there, to start out the drive on Saturday. But I think that everybody is going to get a chance. I just wish that it would kind of continue down the path to really see what the guy has got in the tank, and as opposed to having him on a very, very short leash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then how did you evaluate that game against Buffalo? Obviously, the 28-3 win. A lot of times you can't complain about a blowout victory, but at the same time, a lot of points left on the field, a lot of penalties. So it was hard for me to get mad at Husker fans no matter what narrative they wanted to come out with that game.
No, I agree with you completely. I think the points on the field are the most concerning thing to me. I mean, you've got a couple of touchdowns, you had 3 field goals. Your special teams, your kicker is still struggling, and you need him to get out of his head and find some confidence really quick, because you can't continue to get that far into territory and go away and not put any points on the board. That's simply not going to work against Oklahoma. You're going to have to take advantage of every opportunity scoring-wise to get points on the board, preferably touchdowns. But you can't have it to where you're not getting either one of them. I think then you still have some offensive line breakdowns, like the big middle blitz that came up where Adrian was able to kind of take a broken play and some bad protection and roll it into a 70-yard gain. That still really came out of the offensive line not having the right protection set, where they missed a blitzer right up the middle of the field. The point is this. Nebraska's biggest plays so far this season tend to come down from breakdowns, where something bad happens and they make lemonade out of lemons. They're not going to have that ability in Norman to do that based on the type of team that they're playing against, the better athletes. That athlete gets there on that middle blitz this Saturday if they're playing against OU. That's a 7-yard loss, no matter what.
Yeah, you're right. Talking to Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com, the 50th anniversary of the game of the century. We know Nebraska is somewhere between a 22 and a 23-point dog. How do you see it?
Well, I mean, you got a couple things going for you. The defense is playing really well. They haven't allowed a touchdown in 6 quarters. I think that the upfront game, I think Nebraska can go toe-to-toe with OU with OU's offensive line and Nebraska's defensive line. That part of the Nebraska defense has really stood up well all season long. And now maybe you get back Casey Rogers this week too. So that's pretty big. Nebraska's offense, however, is still lacking a really strong identity. We've established that there's some playmakers, Toure, Martinez. Nobody's really come out of the offensive, out of the running back situation. You might be getting back a tight end or 2 this weekend, depending on what happens with Vokalek and Allen. Hickman, though, has emerged as a playmaker at tight end. I think Nebraska can keep this close defensively in a lot of different spots. They have to limit the big plays. They have to take advantage of some opportunities there to create some turnovers. But they have to play a much cleaner game end to end than what they have done against some more inferior opponents so far this season. And that's the difficulty that they're going to face on Saturday.
Yep. So you're not giving me a score, are you? You're not going to give me a score.
I'm going to have to take OU to win, but I mean, it's somewhere in like that 40, 42 to 17, 42-21 area. I'm really tempted right now to say that they don't cover, just because Nebraska's defense is playing that good. And I have to think that Culp is going to put it together, and you're not going to see 3 missed field goals again from him this Saturday.
Right.
What do you think is a good performance from Nebraska's defense as far as the number that they're holding Oklahoma to? Every couple of years, there's those teams like Oregon a couple of years ago. I remember going into that game and thinking, well, you can't think of it as total points because this is Oregon. They're just going to score. Oklahoma's kind of that offense now in college football.
Yeah, but I just don't feel like, they didn't put it together the week 1 against Tulane. They did last week, which, it's good for them. They've taken another step forward when it comes to that. But from a physicality hit you in the mouth kind of thing, which is what Tulane was not afraid to do. If you go back and rewatch that film, they were not scared of OU walking through the door. OU is the big bad Big 12, going to the SEC type of team. They were not. They had no reservations about taking it to them. If Nebraska brings what they have done so far this season when it comes to their defensive line play, they can keep it close. They can get pressure.
Yeah.
They typically have not gotten rattled, but they are a physical upfront team, and I think that's going to be something that OU is not ready.
Yep. Well, Iowa State's been able to do it from time to time, and Kansas State has had a little success here and there against Oklahoma. You never know, and defense could be the difference. And good conversation. Thanks for the time, Brian. Appreciate it.
Talk to you next week, guys.
There you go, Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Let's go to break. Come back with the blog jog next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
We'll see a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Cooler temps with an afternoon high of around 77. Winds turning out of the northeast at 10. Gradually clearing skies tonight, a low dropping down all the way to 52. Beautiful day tomorrow with mostly sunny skies and a high pushing up near 80. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Eustis Body Shop, the health and safety of team members, customers, and the communities they serve is of utmost importance. All locations remain open and committed to serving customers. For the safety of customers, Eustis Body Shop has an online estimating tool to assess damages without bringing your car to the shop. When you're ready for repairs, they'll pick up your vehicle, complete repairs, and sanitize the interior before delivering it to you. Eustis Body Shop thanks you for your support and looks forward to serving you as we navigate these difficult times. Details at EustisBodyShop.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Angry about a recent Nebraska football loss? Go throw axes at Kraft Axe Throwing. Optimistic about the upcoming Nebraska football game? Go sign up for free football tickets at Kraft Axe Throwing. Bring some friends, reserve a bay for an hour or more, release anger at the targets by hucking an axe at it, and walk away feeling better about yourselves and the football season just in time to enter for a chance to win a free pair of tickets to the next home game as you walk out the door. Reserve your lane online at craftaxethrowing.com or call 402-802-9696. Kraft Axe Throwing at 18th and N in Lincoln.
Here's to days spent roaming and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical, and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska State Parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey guys, looking for that extra confidence when it's time to have fun? Let me tell you about BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew tablets help men combat all forms of ED. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part? It's all done online. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy. And here's a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code TICKET at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code TICKET, to receive your first month
free.
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? It's so easy. All you have to do is eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Now through September 16th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. And get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends September 16th. See club for details.
Join the team and call the shots. Now calling for adult and youth team sports officials for Lincoln Parks and Recreation. Officials must be at least 16 years old for youth sports and 18 years old for adult sports. Officials are paid $20 a game and are expected to be physically able to run the field or court with players for an entire game of approximately 55 minutes, work well with coaches, and have the ability to accept criticism and work well under pressure. If you'd like to be a team sports official, call 402-441-7982 to learn more, or go to teamsideline.com/LincolnNE.
Grab yourself a hot dog or a glass of eggnog and settle in. This is the Blog Job on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Live at Chick-fil-A here till 2. Bock and I will be here. Stop by, use the Chick-fil-A location, this one, at 48th and O, or you can go by South Point as well. Use the Chick-fil-A app to order and scan to get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for up to 15 people, chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea or lemonade, and the winner will be drawn and called on Wednesday. That would be tomorrow. Let's bring in Rico, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Rico.
How are you guys?
How's it going, man?
It's going
We're
fantastic.
good. We're at a restaurant. It is, well, of course it is. We're at Chick-fil-A on a Tailgate Tuesday. How could it go wrong? It's perfect.
Are you guys going to bring me back some chicken like you have failed to do the last couple times?
Yeah, what do you want? What do you want? We'll bring it back.
Yeah, I just want a nice
fries.
No, I want a nice number one with the medium fries and a large Coke.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
there
right.
you go.
What would that be?
That's the
Chick-fil-A
original
chicken.
chicken, the original chicken
Yeah,
sandwich.
Yeah, there's a man who knows his menu. Look at that.
I know my
Impressive.
Chick-fil-A.
What's the number 3, Rico? What's the number?
The number 3, I think that's the
What's the number
deluxe.
3?
I
You
think
know
that's
that
the
one?
deluxe chicken.
Is
that right?
No, Chick-fil-A nuggets. He only knows the one.
That's right. That's all. He just knows.
I thought number 5
Well,
was
and
the
it would
the
make
chicken
sense
nugget.
that Rico.
The car's in the way.
Maybe
I
they
can't tell.
switched up the order on
Yeah, they might have
Rico,
switched
just
the
trying to
menu.
confuse
They
him.
got me.
Figures he would order the number 1. He thinks of himself that way.
I am literally the best.
Let's go to the block jog. What's on the blog jog today?
Yeah, some stuff and some things. Give me a second while I
Yeah.
find this. Okay, this one comes from ManchesterEveningNews.com. Young people have no excuse for not buying a house, says a 22-year-old landlord. He says that the reason that young people can't buy houses is because they go out and use all their money drinking.
That's right.
It's partly true, a little bit, maybe some of it. But I if you added up all your drinking money over,
No.
Bock doesn't
Yeah.
even drink,
I
so
still-
he's probably a bad person.
I
to ask.
still would
Yeah.
not be able to buy a house.
Maybe a down payment.
I did not. I have not
you know,
drank
what
that
is a
much.
down payment. I think my down payment at one time was like 15. I had 15. I put 15 down.
Well, you have to, and you can get on this first-time homebuyers program.
Right.
That really
That's
helps.
right.
A lot of people don't know that, but
Oh, somebody should. hit
yeah,
that.
I liked all those. Yeah, well, just look it up. Google it.
There's a lot of
Wow, thanks.
opportunity if you want to buy a house. Look it up. Hey, look it up.
But there's a lot of people say that if the young people, buying avocados and all that stuff, everything that young people like to buy, that they can't add up, but that's it. Just housing prices are rising generally. It's it's tough to save up.
If
that
they
much
would
money.
drink less, they would get less hungry after drinking and then eat avocados.
You have to have a huge drinking problem if that equals a down payment.
Well, maybe if the
And have a
houses weren't
huge
so damn
avocado
expensive.
problem.
Yeah. That's right.
That's right. Maybe if I didn't have such a big drinking problem.
Well, luckily, we live in the Midwest, so there's an opportunity there. I know a lot of people will say, you just moved to the Midwest. I don't want to move to the Midwest.
So what
That's
you're
where a lot
so
of
what
people
you're
on the
telling
coast
me
just, they'll
what-
never be able to buy a house.
So what you're telling me is if I didn't have an occasional rum and coke, I'd be able to buy myself a nice 4-bedroom 3-bath.
That's right.
You might have to start with a starter house there, Rico.
More Coke, less rum, or more rum, less Coke. I don't know. What else?
Texas, this goes from
House.
Fox News. Texas man brings his steer into Petco to test the, quote, all leashed pets are welcome policy.
Ooh.
Pet steer.
What store was this?
Petco. Down in Texas.
Petco, wow.
Can you bring your pet in Petco?
Yeah. As long as he's leashed.
As long as he's leashed, okay.
He brought his African
steer.
He brought his African Watusi bull that is 1,600 pounds.
Oh my goodness! Wait, I don't think there's anything at Petco for him.
He's checking it out.
Yeah, but it was on a leash.
Place.
It's on a leash, so it was okay.
Yeah.
How many leashes does it take, to contain Ralphie? I mean, that's a
Seems
similar
like there's
size.
at least 4 guys on every.
Four guys, but maybe this is a smaller version.
Yeah.
Be kind of cool. I mean, would you like to own any sort of exotic pet?
Not a giant one, because then there's the cleanup. But yes, maybe a small
monkey. You said
small
monkey. That's
yeah.
right. You
My
keep going back to
mother
the monkey.
actually had a monkey at one time. So,
was he messy? Would he spit?
He was messy. Yeah, he had to wear diapers.
And ever since then, you've wanted a monkey.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I want at least to have a little spider monkey.
I'd like a smaller version of a big cat.
Oh yeah, that doesn't grow too big.
Yeah,
if they get too big, they bite pretty hard.
Yeah, that's not great.
I'm allergic to cats.
I mean, so am I. I just, I still want one. Not a cat, but like a big cat. Like if I could get like a
panther,
like a miniature tiger or something like that.
Oh
yeah,
wow,
that would be cool. But then a lot of things would go missing. I mean, the other pets would probably go missing.
That's why you only have that. And nobody's messing with you, though.
That's true. Do you think a tiger and a dog could get along in the same house?
For a while.
So you want to know, big cat cheetahs have anxiety because they're going extinct. And for a while, they were so close to extinction that the wild cheetahs just started mating with their siblings. So there was a lot of inbreeding. So they have a lot of anxiety issues and problems. So when they have cheetahs in zoos, they put dogs with them, and it helps them to just be more outgoing and act more like a cheetah.
Yeah, and they don't kill them. I mean,
they don't. They're friends. They make friends.
That's great. That's a great story. We always try to get one animal story at least per blog jog. You nailed it.
Well, I have another animal story. This one's about bugs. Bugs, though.
That.
Nobody likes bugs.
Okay, keep them coming.
This comes from USA Today. A Kansas student's state fair entry triggers a federal spotted lanternfly investigation.
All right, you got to repeat that again.
I don't know what that means.
So, a student in Kansas did the bug display where they pin them to the boards and you have the wings up. He apparently had found a spotted lanternfly, which is an invasive species that comes from somewhere overseas, and it's been mostly on the East Coast, and places have had to shut down to try and contain them. Well, now the federal government of Kansas is looking into where he found this bug and if there are any more, and if they can exterminate them.
He might have saved the world.
At least Kansas.
At least Kansas.
Well, that's not really saving. That's not doing much, is it? Yeah. Do we really need Kansas?
Probably.
There's been some.
I mean, the Big Ten might want Kansas.
Yeah, let's lose from Kansas. Yeah, there you go. Good stuff. We got 2 animal stories in.
Yeah, that was a good time.
You're welcome.
Love it. Box Tops. What is it today?
Top 10 Nebraska rivalries.
Like it. Oklahoma would be on that list. It might be on that list. We'll explore it next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonsall Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit bonsallpool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonsall Pool and Spa.
Lay the groundwork for more harvesting capacity when you order a new John Deere combine during Landmark Implement's early order program. Whether you're looking to improve your existing combine or you've been wanting to update to a new model year, now is the time to upgrade.
Get the very latest harvesting equipment and technology that fit your operations needs, then get it ordered. You can get your new John Deere Combine built just the way you want. Contact your local Landmark Implement for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
93.7 The Ticket is hiring. We're looking for a highly confident, driven, and energetic individual to join our team as a sales executive. You can begin your exciting career in sports radio at a locally owned independent station and work closely with our crew of on-air personalities. If you enjoy meeting new people and working with them to solve their marketing needs, this could be the job for you. Head to theticketfm.com for the complete job description and instructions on how you can apply. 93.7 The Ticket and BDP Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
Here's to days spent roaming and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical, and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska state parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football, Lincoln Pius was able to secure their first win of the season over Lincoln High. The Thunderbolts won the game 28-21 in double overtime. In other matchups this last week, Lincoln Northeast took care of business, beating Omaha Northwest 48-7. Lincoln Southeast won over Grant Island 17-7. Lincoln Southwest beat Omaha North 20-17. Elkhorn just got past Waverly with a final score of 14-3, and Lincoln Christian fell to Fort Calhoun 28-13. Moving to softball, on Monday, Lincoln Southwest continued their hot stretch, taking down their Class A rival Lincoln Southeast in both games, 11-3 in the first and 7-1 in the second. In Class A volleyball, Lincoln Southwest has moved up to 3 in the power rankings after beating Omaha Westside. The record now sits at 5-0. In Class B, Norris won over Elkhorn South. They currently sit with a record of 10-0. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Starting the right career is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You want to enjoy your career, be challenged, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Join the team and call the shots. Now calling for adult and youth team sports officials for Lincoln Parks and Recreation. Officials must be at least 16 years old for youth sports and 18 years old for adult sports. Officials are paid $20 a game and are expected to be physically able to run the field or court with players for an entire game of approximately 55 minutes, work well with coaches, and have the ability to accept criticism and work well under pressure. If you'd like to be a team sports official, call 402-441-7982 to learn more, or go to teamsideline.com/LincolnNE.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Coming off a win against Buffalo, the Nebraska football team sets their sights on number 3 Oklahoma. Head coach Scott Frost spoke yesterday about their upcoming opponent.
It's a talented team. Wow, you turn it on and the speed just pops out right away. Every position, the size and speed of the guys. So really encouraging our guys to execute the same way we have been and improve that, but try to do it at absolute fast as possible, because I know the speed of Oklahoma is going to be a little different than what we've seen the last couple weeks.
The Huskers and the Sooners kick off at 11 a.m. on Saturday as the big noon game on Fox. The 6th-ranked Nebraska volleyball team will play the 16th-ranked Stanford Cardinal today out in California. This is the 3rd straight top 20 matchup for the Huskers. First serve is scheduled for 7 p.m. on Pac-12 Network and will be carried on the Huskers radio network. Monday Night Football saw the Las Vegas Raiders take down the Baltimore Ravens 33-27 in overtime. The Raiders scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, including a 55-yard field goal with 2 seconds remaining to force OT. Next up for the NFL, a Thursday night matchup between the New York Giants and the Washington Football Team. For all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockoven.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I have never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
We've already started, actually. We started at 11. We're going till 2. We're at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesday. Bock, how are you having fun?
Oh, yeah. I always have fun out here. It's nice to get out of the studio. Now there's some sun out here. Earlier it was kind of some cloudy, but yeah.
That's absolutely it. And it is, I mean, we get to see the line of cars and the people get the happy food. I mean, and they know that they're about to eat Chick-fil-A very shortly as they drive, having to sniffle that all the way home. That's gonna be a good drive home. But we get to go right into the restaurant here at Chick-fil-A at 48th and O and eat afterwards. And maybe if Rico's good, we'll bring something back for Rico. That could definitely happen. I thought about this, and I debated whether or not I was going to talk about it. First, let's get to lots of loan advice for Rico on the text line, 464-5685. You can get loans as little as 0 down. I've seen 3%. It's a good time to buy a home, except for it's not really because
not right now,
the housing market is thin. But if you can get some reasonable.
It's not as much of a seller's market as it was earlier.
Have you bought?
I was thinking about. I've got a house. I was thinking about making the old switch and explored that, but too much of a seller's market. But I really do mean this. You should get a starter house. That's how you could build some equity. Don't think you're gonna get your dream house right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's just smart. I bought my first little condo. It was like
or you can buy an apartment, a condo. Yeah.
I bought a condo for it was 800 square feet, but it was really cheap. And when I sold it, doubled the price on that. So start small. You're right. Work your way up. You don't have to get your dream house the first time out. You're probably not going to do that anyway. We were talking about the running back position. And it was weird. There were some questions asked about Marquise Stepp because I think some people thought, well, there's our back, 18 carries, 103 yards, whatever it was against Fordham.
Yeah.
And he's going to be doing that same thing every week. And then he didn't get that many carries, Stepp, in the second half. It was mostly Gabe Ervin and Savion Morrison. And Scott Frost was asked about that. And I thought this comment just stuck out a little bit. I don't have much to do with that, he said, basically saying that he and Ryan would talk about play calling. And then I guess Ryan Held would pick his running back based on the play calls coming up in the next series and rotations. But that stuck out to me as a little weird that I don't have much. I mean, if Mario Verduzco started sending Logan Smothers into the game instead of Adrian Martinez, Scott might say, got a problem with that. You should put the other guy, number 2, in.
Yeah, you wonder how much he makes the calls on personnel. You know, obviously he should have kind of the veto power there. I think if it's obvious, like an Adrian Martinez situation, it would be something that he addressed. But I don't think that there's anybody in the running back room that's taken that next step. So, I mean, it was kind of weird. That caught me off guard a little bit too, that he had said that. But you wonder too, because the wide receiver position we've been talking about for years, how you need to get different guys involved there. Hopefully at least, this past weekend, they're convinced finally on some guys that are going to get some playing time moving forward. But it's very interesting, how each team deals with their personnel and personnel decisions. I just think they're probably at a point at this point where he doesn't have a favorite, and I don't think there's too much of a gap between them that you just say, whatever Held's doing today.
And maybe isn't that part of the problem that you don't have a guy yet? And maybe that'll all sort itself out. Gabe Ervin did look good at times. There's been a lot of criticism with the offensive line that they're It's 4 guys, but it's not always 5 guys making the correct block. But Frost did mention that sometimes it's a missed block by a tight end, or sometimes a running back choosing the wrong hole, which you would think would come with experience, which is frustrating that they don't have a guy with more experience on the running back position. Who pick one? Who's your favorite of the 3?
Boy, it's tough. Like I don't think anybody's really flashed anything too well. I like the kind of the pass protection that Gabe Ervin brings. I think he looked good that second half, but he did not start off strong. Like we've been talking about, the offensive line really isn't giving them a whole lot of opportunities. But at the same time, sometimes you got to make more than what's given to you, and not a whole lot of broken tackles, not a lot of great cuts, or tenacity running the ball and getting those extra 2 or 3 yards that I've seen from them necessarily. They look, at this point, I don't mind the hot hand approach, because I think that's I don't think anybody's separating right now.
You don't seem to have a Mike Rozier, right? So you go with the next best. I don't think they have an Amon Green. I don't think they have a Lawrence Phillips. They don't have that type of guy.
I don't think they have a Terrell Newby. You just want somebody that looks better than the next.
Divine Ezigbo, I would take in a heartbeat. That was your last 1,000-yard rusher.
Well, heck, let's even say it. I don't think they have Dedrick Mills on this roster.
I don't. Well, after 3 games, it doesn't look like it. The good thing is these are all young, talented guys, and you would like to think their ceiling is way up there.
They can get better.
That they can get better. Pro Football Focus says Nebraska ran 11 zone read runs and 20 inside zones on Saturday's game with Buffalo. And that's when Scott Frost is talking about their base runs. That's basically Nebraska's go-to. DP asked me all the time, what's their play? When you talk about identity, and I always said inside zone. That was what they tried to do, or outside zone. They're a zone read type team with a running quarterback. So that's what Scott Frost is talking about when he's talking about base plays. So far, Nebraska has run the zone read 74 times in the season, inside zone 43 times in 3 games. That's 117 reps of their base runs. They're going to keep it. We talk about at least staying with it. They're staying with it right now.
Yeah, and they're absolutely going to have to against Oklahoma, down the line against Ohio State. There's some of these teams that you're just not going to try to go punch for punch with. You're going to have to do what the Big Ten, a lot of teams in the Big Ten do well, which is, eat clock, rely on your defense, but specifically for this game, they're going to have to win the time of possession battle. I know that's not something that Scott Frost's offense historically does or tries to do, but that's what they're going to have to do. You got to keep Oklahoma's offense off the field, and so that's what I felt was good against Buffalo, is that they bring that same game plan, even if it's not working that great, and we can have our gripes about not getting enough yards and Adrian having to bail them out at times and too many 3rd and longs. They're longer than you want them to be, but that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to shorten the game to give your defense, which is your strength, rely on your defense and give them a shot. So, I don't necessarily expect to have anybody go over 100 this week. I don't know who's going to start or get a majority of the carries. I guess your guess is as good as mine at this point. I just hope that, somebody has 16, 17 carries, and the backup running back get their 7 or 8 in there. But we'll see. The other thing is too, when people talk about not getting a whole lot of reps, they actually had about even. I know that Step didn't get them in the second half, but I think Step had like 9 and Irvin had 10,
had a couple more
and
carries.
Morrison had 8. So they were all getting about equal.
Right.
reps.
It's just that Step didn't play in the second in the second half. I think that was part of the question to Scott Frost. Somebody said on the text line 464-5685. What about Yant? I like Yant. Whenever he's in there, he seems to move piles. And if you don't have an explosive guy, why not at least have a powerful guy?
Well, to be fair, we've only seen it against like the worn down Fordham team.
Well, I would like to see give him a carry.
I would like to see him get a shot. Yeah.
I'd like to see him have an opportunity when it matters.
How happy? You were the Sevison Morrison guy coming in, so you got to be pretty excited to see him get at least. Yeah, he got about the split of the carries as everybody else.
I think Savion has the most talent. I think Yant has the most power. I'd like to see those guys as my 1-2 combination. Quite frankly, but I do understand Gabe Ervin. He's got a bit of everything. He's probably the most complete back, and then Step has the power and I think some moves to go with him. I don't know how they're thinking about it. I'd like to settle ultimately on Savion Morrison. I'd like him to win the gig and be what I think he can be, which is really explosive. But I think, it's taken some time with him.
And I just don't know if they're going to get an explosive, too much explosive plays out of their running game. The good news is they're getting the explosive plays from the passing game and Samari Toure, and then, of course, the big runs from Adrian Martinez. But again, with this team speed that Oklahoma has, your 71-yard run against Buffalo might be a 15, 16-yard run against Oklahoma. They'll catch up to them.
If that. The offensive line has received a lot of criticism. It is frustrating when you think Turner Corcoran had an Ohio State scholarship offer. He was a 4-star, very highly ranked. Same with Bryce Benhart on the other side, both 4-star guys. Cam Jurgens, we think the potential is unlimited. They say that's their best offensive lineman. So you got 3 guys. It must be the guards that they're really concerned about, right? Because it feels like those 3 pieces got to be solid, even though I know Corcoran said he didn't play his best game last weekend.
Yeah, and the tackles I'd still say, are on the younger end. At this point, the center should, have enough experience that he's, your lead offensive lineman. I think he is. But, yeah, they've had a trouble with those guards. I know that, you go back to those Pro Football Focus rankings, they haven't been great. And we'll see. I mean, maybe they decide to shuffle some things. Brad Banks has been their top backup. He's been playing a lot of tackle, but maybe he gets moved in there. That's what we were told coming into the year, is that they're feeling good about the 2 deep. It's not just the starting guys. They're in a point at the program where the 2 deep and on the offensive line, we should have been able to seen it by now. So if somebody's not getting the job done, it's important on one hand to try to get the continuity going with an offensive line. You only play as good as your weakest part, with an offensive line usually. So maybe working toward that, but at the same time, if it's just not happening, you should have enough talent behind those guys to give somebody a shot.
Yeah, I think we're going to hold off on Box Tops till 1 o'clock.
Okay.
We've got that because we do have Steve Sipple coming up in just a few minutes as well. Anything Oklahoma week that we've missed so far? Memory lane for you? To me, I go all the way back to those great rivalries, and I was looking at some of the pictures I saw today with Barry Switzer talking with Tom Osborne before those 70s games. And I obviously don't remember Bob Devaney as a fan growing up. I watched some of those games on TV, but that's what sticks out to me. And you had 2 really unique offenses, the best at them in college football. There were a few other teams that were running the wishbone at that time, but nobody as effectively as Oklahoma. And I've talked to Barry about this. He said the wishbone would still work today. The problem is recruiting to it. Even recruiting to Tom Osborne's option would be tough maybe today. But you started to evolve the option game. But yeah, what are your earliest memories of Nebraska and Oklahoma?
Well, being a '90s baby, again, it was Oklahoma wasn't at their peak, but when Bob Stoops took over in 2000, and from then on, I mean, from then till now, they've been a dominant program, and kind of the program that Nebraska kind of looks up to, because I know they're closer to Texas and maybe have a little bit more in-state talent, but they're somewhat similar. I mean, they're more, as they join the SEC, they might be more southern than our Midwest, but they're not that far. So Nebraska, you often compare to Wisconsin and Iowa, and if Kansas State and those teams can do it, then Nebraska should be able to do it. Oklahoma's somewhat in that, again, probably has a little bit of an advantage, but as far as some of those advantages that Nebraska has, the history, the fan base, and just kind of that stuff kind of flows along, that Nebraska could be somewhat similar to Oklahoma if they had the right guy in place. And that's why, with the USC job opening coming up, there's whispers of Bob Stoops getting back on the sideline. Man, I think that's the number one hire for whoever gets him. And I'm praying Nebraska doesn't need to have to hire anybody, right? Yeah. But if that does happen, Bob Stoops will be on the top of my list, because, man, a lot of respect built up for that guy over my years watching Oklahoma football.
Well, speaking of hirings, of course, USC is going to have to do one. Clay Helton is gone, former head coach at USC. It's interesting that they would fire him 2 games into a season.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a good look losing to your rival Stanford. 42-28 was the score, but 2 games in seems weird.
It seems like if he's that close to being fired, you might want to find your replacement before the season and go ahead and start. If he's that close to not being the guy and you're just done with him, then maybe. And Stanford had that loss to Kansas State. They're not the Stanford of old that we've seen in David Shaw. He's struggled the last couple of years, so maybe that's why they're going ahead and doing that. But USC, I don't know. Maybe it's the mid 2000s. And when USC is good, they're just unbearable to hear all about them all the time. I had enough of it in my lifetime in the mid 2000s, but they're one of the top jobs in college football. And so I've been happy that they've kept Clay Helton, kind of an interim name, doesn't quite necessarily live up to the name that they could get. So I thought this is a move they should have made a long time ago. Of course, a few of those Sam Darnold years kept Clay Helton probably in favor there. But I'm fascinated. If they get a big name, it's similar to Texas. When Texas this past year hired the guy that they did, I wasn't blown away. And I'm thinking, okay, now there's still an opportunity, because if Texas or USC or Florida, gets an Urban Meyer or gets a Nick Saban, it's over from there. I mean, it's just they'll be a dominant power for as long as those guys are in place.
Yeah, those jobs are when they get the right guy. But Nebraska's unique in that way a little bit, except for USC is a gold job because it's a glamorous job. They have all the national titles to go with it, and it's a recruiting playground. I mean, Pete Carroll, he recruited nationally, similar to Saban, but once you gave him that organization and he had the right combination of weirdness and energy to recruit, and yet he also had the football acumen to be great on both sides, and they were so dominant. So it feels like they're still getting 5 stars, even with Clay Helton.
Oh, yeah,
they have several 5 stars.
They recruit themselves.
USC is easy to recruit. I mean, that should. Dante Williams, by the way, take over as head coach right now, and of course he was at Nebraska as the defensive backs coach in 2017. I want to say.
Didn't those defensive backs?
He can recruit though.
Took a step back.
He can. So he's getting the gig, but he's not getting the big. I mean, if they win out, maybe he gets the gig.
But that's why you wonder why they make the move so early. Like, what does? And I know there was a big article, I think in the LA Times, about why you do it now. I'd never really read it, but I just. I don't know if there's a lot of benefit to that, and I always feel bad for the players in the same way I did in 2017 when the writing was on the wall right away after Eichhorst was let go. I felt bad for the players because before they even hit conference season, the season was deemed a failure and not given not given a chance to redeem themselves. So I do feel a little bit bad in that case, but like I said, I can't stand USC, so watching them always be overranked and their quarterbacks get all this love before they earn it, it's nice to see. But one thing I did want to mention, because I brought it up the other day while you were out, as a football fan, I'll always wonder what happens if Pete Carroll stays at USC through the Reggie Bush scandal or whatever. And, he's done great in Seattle. We all know that. But if he would have stayed at USC and they already had it up and running, that was around the time Saban was starting to build Alabama. Would Saban have as many titles as he does today if Pete Carroll stayed at USC?
No, he wouldn't.
No.
Because he was a great, great college coach, and there was no reason to think that was going to go anywhere.
No.
He already had the foundation, but it's amazing how quickly, once you leave that foundation, how quickly the cracks can build, and it starts to fall in on itself. I wonder about Ohio State. I mean, I think Ryan Day's a good coach. I don't know that he's a great college coach. We know Urban Meyer is a great college coach, and he built that foundation, and it stood the first couple of years because he built a strong one, kind of similar to Tom Osborne. And then you saw some cracks in the foundation at Nebraska. But I think USC, it's not hard to build from a recruiting standpoint. And that's the biggest challenge Nebraska has is you're always going to have those guys. I think it's development. I don't think they lack talent on that roster, but you need the right guy of toughness and recruiting and that mixture. And sometimes a ball of energy like Pete Carroll can provide that. He kind of reminds me of a PJ Fleck. Some people said the morning show, Mike likes it. I don't think Haffer likes it at all. He likes Fleck there. Would you like Fleck there?
I would like Fleck there. Yeah. I mean, if he can get it done at Minnesota, USC could be a substantial step up. Like we said, I mean, that's a place that recruits itself. I mean, he's certainly a good motivator.
Yeah.
You can think it's fake or whatever, but at this point, the results have come back, and he's a pretty good recruit or a pretty good college head coach. I know Schaefer also mentioned Paul Chris. There's a few guys in the Big Ten that would be good fits there. I'm interested in, there's talk is, Matt Campbell. If Iowa State's needing to rebound a little bit now, or his
Mike
name's
Leach.
somebody
Said Mike Leach on the text line.
That would be fun. I know Luke Fickell's really high because of the Cincinnati, but he really struggled his 1 year at Ohio State.
Yeah. He seems like a perfect fit for Cincinnati and just stay
Yeah.
there. Because, everybody's going to take at least, a call. They're going to take an interview with a guy like Luke Fickell. But you wonder, because of that 1 year, I know he's so young, similar to Frost, when he was at Ohio State, and he had just taken the car keys, and that's a really tough situation that he had there. But I think he's perfect for why do guys just refuse to stay where they are? I mean, sometimes it's a good fit.
Money?
Yeah, money.
But I mean, USC, that's the point. I mean, it recruits itself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get the USC call, it's hard not to think quite a bit about it. And that's why I think, like, if I'm leading the USC, if I'm the athletic director there, maybe I don't call Bill Belichick. Maybe I don't call Nick Saban. Everybody else is on the table because it's such a perfect job for anybody. And you live in sunny Los Angeles.
Right.
I mean, there's not too many downsides to it.
I wonder about a guy like Urban Meyer. He's never going to leave Ohio State for USC, but I could see him being with the Jags for a couple of years. And this NFL thing's a little harder than I thought it was. And there's a lot of great coaches, and every day is spent all day working on your opponent. Whereas he was the master of kind of dividing those things up. I wonder a couple of years off if he looks at the next USC guy. Do we really think he's going to make it? Then Urban Meyer. After that,
That could be. I'd love to see Urban Meyer return to college, win a few titles, leave after sanctions.
Yeah.
And, it's a typical Urban Meyer.
But he's got health problems, and that doesn't seem to deter him. But they didn't look good on Sunday in the NFL. Let's talk some more Husker football. A guy that has a pretty good grasp, I'm guessing, of the Nebraska-Oklahoma rivalry would be Steve Sipple.
That's right.
He's almost as old as I am. I'm a little older. A little more seniority, but we'll welcome in Steve Sipple next on Tom and Bock.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Tired of the ugly sides, extra expense, and costly damage from hard water? It's time to call the plumbers at Bryant for a water softener solution. Hi, folks. Greg Shop here, the voice of the Huskers at Bryant. You get high-quality water softener products installed by plumbers you can trust, and no arm-twisting contracts that tie you down. Just one call, 467-1111, or visit BryantLincoln.com to schedule a free softener installation estimate. Come on, soften up with Bryant. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Everyone loves a good deal, and there's plenty of great options right now at Brown Shoe Fit for their summer clearance sale. Check out their multiple sizes and widths and sandals with brands like Clark's, Keen, Atrex, and many more. Hurry in for the best selection because this sale only goes to the end of the month. It's the summer clearance sale at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
We'll see a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Cooler temps with an afternoon high of around 77. Winds turning out of the northeast at 10. Gradually clearing skies tonight. A low dropping down all the way to 52. Beautiful day tomorrow with mostly sunny skies and a high pushing up near 80. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Right now, they have tons of Oktoberfest beers, and you can check out their new Empyrean, New Belgium, and Prost selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage shop at 1801 Oak Street.
We're gonna eat pizza from Casey's and watch the football games. Yeah, enjoy the season with delicious Casey's pizza. 2 tasty pizzas for big game days.
Now at Casey's, you can get 2 large single-topping pizzas with delicious made-from-scratch dough for $9.99 each with promo code DOUBLE.
Casey's here for good. Yeah.
Starting the right career is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You want to enjoy your career, be challenged, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football, Lincoln Pius was able to secure their first win of the season over Lincoln High. The Thunderbolts won the game 28-21 in double overtime. In other matchups this last week, Lincoln Northeast took care of business, beating Omaha Northwest 48-7. Lincoln Southeast won over Grant Island 17-7. Lincoln Southwest beat Omaha North 20-17. Elkhorn just got past Waverly with a final score of 14-3, and Lincoln Christian fell to Fort Calhoun 28-13. Moving to softball, on Monday, Lincoln Southwest continued their hot stretch, taking down their Class A rival Lincoln Southeast in both games, 11-3 in the first and 7-1 in the second. In Class A volleyball, Lincoln Southwest has moved up to 3 in the power rankings after beating Omaha Westside. The record now sits at 5-0. In Class B, Norris won over Elkhorn South. They currently sit with a record of 10-0. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, Tom and Bock, 48th today at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesday, where you can stop by either Chick-fil-A location, this location, or the South Point location. We're at 48th. Use your Chick-fil-A app to order or scan to get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade. The winner will be drawn tomorrow and contacted. There you go. Steve Sipple joins us from the Lincoln Journal-Star. How are you, Sip?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're at a restaurant, and we're eating. We're eating actually chicken nuggets as we speak. They have great chicken nuggets.
Oh, yeah, delicious.
Ever tried them, Sip? They're very good.
At Chick-fil-A, I've never had anything bad.
Yeah, that's right. The nuggets are fantastic.
Yeah, the nuggets are good, huh? You like those?
And I like the waffle fries. The waffle fries are way up there for me. Not a lot of people make the waffle fry anymore. It's sad, but Chick-fil-A does have it, and it's delicious. So
that is sad. That is something I regard with a lot of sadness.
It's way up there. Another thing that's sad is maybe the level of excitement for this game, the 50th anniversary for the game of the century. Well, the ticket prices are a little down. I'm wondering, where are you? I mean, Nebraska fans are still going to be excited to watch this thing, but what do you think is the level of excitement for it?
You know what? I don't do a really good job of gauging fan excitement. I mean, I'm excited. And I feel like I'm not that much different than everybody, you know. Like I've noticed over the years, kind of the way I think about stuff is sort of similar to the everyman type of thinking. I don't know. I get the sense that people are kind of excited for it. I don't know what the ticket prices tell you, Tom. I know I'm excited. I'm really intrigued with this team, Nebraska.
Yep.
The last 2 weeks, it's kind of, I guess I just keep using the word intrigued with this game. I have a sense that Nebraska's defense can be pretty good this year. But I don't know, like, I don't do that thing where if they have trouble against Oklahoma, that I just write them off, because I have to see what the circumstances are.
Yep.
If the offense is going 3 and out, all the time, and they're putting too much on them, then it's you read it maybe differently. But I don't know. I know I'm rambling. Here's the bottom line. I'm excited for this trip.
Good.
I'm really looking forward to going to Norman, going back down to that stadium where I've been so many times, since 94, 95. I just like it. I like going down there. I like going south.
Well, and it certainly is going to be a throwback to the old Big 8, Big 12 days. But of course, Nebraska seemed to be a little bit better back then, and I think that's probably taken away from some of the atmosphere that's going to go on down there. But I mean, how do you see this thing playing out, or how do you see Nebraska being able to stick in this game? I know Scott Frost mentioned he was impressed with Oklahoma's team speed. Is that going to be something that's probably pretty apparent when you watch the game?
Yeah, that'll be apparent. I think that Scott also mentioned in a more practical sense that they can't go down there and turn it over a bunch and flip the field for Oklahoma, and special teams are important in that regard. Your special teams have to play well to keep the field position battle from getting unwieldy. If you give Oklahoma a bunch of short fields, what do you think is going to happen? So, there's a lot that goes into this discussion. The things that come to mind first for me are Nebraska's offensive line.
Yep.
And that goes with what I said. Listen, a formula to get whipped down there is to go 3 and out a lot. If Nebraska's offense is going 3 and out and not sustaining anything and just handing the ball to Oklahoma, it'll be good night, Irene. So that's the first thing. I'd say the second thing are Nebraska's injuries. I think warm-ups are going to be really important, I think, to see who's out there and who's not. Nebraska has 5 critical players that are questionable. Right. Critical players. Austin Allen and Travis Vokalek. Oliver Martin, who I still think could be their best receiver. I've watched Teray. And then Omar Manning and Xavier Betts. Those are 5 of their very best players. So, yep. That looms so large in this conversation. If they would go down there without any of those guys, if none of those guys play, I wouldn't give them a shot to win the game. But if you can get 3 or 4 of those guys, then give them a shot.
Well, the Chris Hickmans of the world played really well against Buffalo, and that was great that they did a step. And Chancellor Brewington, it was good to see the way he's played. And they have had some guys step up, but they really need Vokalek back. They haven't had Martin since the very first game of the season. Xavier Betts was out, and you had Austin Allen with a concussion. You're right. But they do obviously, even with all those guys, need to run the football. If I told you they ran for 200, would you tell me they've been in that game? They're in that game.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they run for 200, they'll be in the game. But I go back. Yeah, I'll expand on that. But I want to go back to these injuries. Yeah. If you told me that Oklahoma's going to be without their five of their best offensive players, I'd look at the game a lot different. You can't gloss over that. If Ohio State is without their 5 best tight ends or receivers, I look at them a lot different. So that's huge. But if they go down there and run for 200, Yeah, the game, the way I look at that game is way different. I can't see it happen. I mean, based on what we've seen, I just don't know if Nebraska's offensive line all of a sudden is going to put it together. I mean, Tulane put 35 on Oklahoma and pushed them to the very limit, but Tulane only rushed for 100 yards. That's not how they did it. Or maybe, I think they ran for 100. They ran for 100 and Oklahoma ran for 132. So, but if Nebraska was able to get that part going suddenly, just out of nowhere, I'd look at the game way different.
Yeah.
Do you think Nebraska, I heard you and Happer talking about this on the pregame show this past Saturday. Do you think that there's going to be a bit of a looseness around Nebraska football this week? Because it seems like the last 3 weeks, you're fighting for your job or whatever, and then the whole season's on the line. And it's weird because the Oklahoma game used to be that very thing. That's when the season would be decided. But where Nebraska is now, they're not expected to win down there. So are they able to take it a little bit easier as they head down to Norman?
Yeah. Hey, that's a good question, Bock. I don't know about taking it easy, but I think that there's not this sort of, it's interesting that you mentioned this. That's a good point, Bock. There's not this sort of heavy conversation that's attached to this game that was attached. I mean, the conversation before Illinois was really heavy. I mean, it was, when I say heavy, around the Nebraska side, it was, man, if they lose this game, they're screwed. It was that. And then Fordham, it was this fear of losing this epic upset, and it was, and then Buffalo was kind of the same way. It just felt really heavy, like, oh God, if they lose this game, things could spin out of control. You don't really hear that this week because Nebraska's such an underdog. So now that you mention it, Bock, I think that could be helpful for Nebraska.
Yeah.
That nobody's expecting them to do anything. There's no pressure in that sense. And maybe they can play a little looser. We will see a little bit different kind of performance.
Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star, our guest. As you know, Clay Helton is gone from USC, and his replacement is former Nebraska defensive back coach Dante Williams. What are your memories of Dante Williams?
Well, he's an extremely good recruiter, as everybody knows. That's his, that's how he's made a name for himself. Dante's definitely a very player-oriented coach. He's sort of a young at heart type guy. At least that's how I remember him. He's only here for a year. I mean, he was a guy that, you might remember this. He'd come to practice with cleats on.
I do remember that.
I haven't seen that at all over the years. And he'd have a hat on back, his ball cap backwards, and he'd have sweatbands on, like a player. He was very player oriented. He's a great recruiter, great dynamic personality. And I imagine that the reason they hired him is to try to keep that recruiting class intact. Now I don't know how all that's going to work, but it's great for Coach Williams that he's getting this opportunity this early in the season.
Yeah, well, recruits are never a problem at USC. That's always going to be a great job, right? I mean, even with all the failures that have happened there, it feels like Texas and USC will always be great jobs, even if maybe they aren't.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is, you know what you're saying. I think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It's one of the most fascinating things to me about college football that Texas can struggle and USC can struggle. It's fascinating to me that they can struggle because of their situations. What I always believe is if they can struggle, anybody can struggle.
Right.
Because where they're situated, and not just where they're situated, it's all the resources and energy and where they're situated, and they still struggle. They can pay whatever they want for a coach, for a recruit, okay? I mean, they can pay whatever they want for a recruit. Let's face it. I mean, we can be real about that conversation, especially now. And still, Texas gets rolled by Arkansas, and Arkansas looks way better.
Yeah.
And Texas can't get it going for years now. I mean, what's that tell you? It tells you that it's really difficult. It's really difficult.
But somehow we think, you find the Mac Brown, and that's the only guy that's been able to do it. And for Nebraska, it was Tom Osborne, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little Bo Pelini, a little Frank Solich here and there. But Nebraska hasn't had a lot of guys that have been able to make it work. You understand, though, because Nebraska doesn't have the resources that Texas does. They don't have the resources that USC does. And that's why we're always going to think those jobs are great. And not a lot of people think Nebraska's job is great.
Yeah, I know Nebraska's resources. When I think of resources, Tommy, I think of money. Nebraska's got money.
They do have that, and buildings.
Yeah, they don't. They just and facilities are going to get good now. It's Nebraska's not in the middle of just recruits all over the place. I mean, come on. At USC, those what coaches have always told me about was how official visits. My God, you don't need them. I mean, kids just come to campus and watch practice because they're 15 miles, 20 miles, 3 miles away. Texas, there's just talent all over the place. But it's really, really underscores the importance of getting the right leader of the program, because you can have the greatest situation imaginable, and if you don't have that right leader, it may not work.
Yeah, I talked to Marvin Sanders. We had him on a show years ago, and he said, I had 3 5-stars walk into my office the other day, from right down the street. Right. So he said that was the difference between recruiting at USC and recruiting at Nebraska. That's always going to be
USC. You'd understand. I went down there, for those games that Nebraska played, Rose Bowl, and I don't know where the hell else I was down there. But it was striking. Like, that's a city campus. That's a city campus, and there's players that just stream into that place. Watch practice.
Yep. Great stuff as always, Zip. Come on by Chick-fil-A if you get hungry. We'll feed you lunch.
To Omaha today.
Okay.
Sip and Sam podcast. So I'm kind of scurrying.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Listen.
By the way, that's really good stuff. By the way, it's a great podcast. I like the dynamic between you two. It sounds great.
Wow. Thank you, Tom. It's nice of you. You guys have a great dynamic too. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. Okay.
All right. He says at some point, thank you, Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star, that maybe he'll come visit us at Chick-fil-A one of these years. But he's got to go to Omaha today. He's got things going on. We understand. Busy man. Let's get to break. We also have bills to pay. We'll do that and take caller number
4.
Bock has spoken. It is caller number 4, 464-5685. Call the Honda of Lincoln hotline to win $15 to Buffalo Wild Wings and come on by there. Wings and Rings. Sorry, Buffalo Wings and Rings at 69th and O. Your chance to win right now, 464-5685.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Did you guys know that Creighton's never beaten Nebraska in volleyball?
They thought this is their best chance to beat Nebraska because Nebraska won in 5 sets against UNO last week. Oh, you got to be beatable today, right? No.
Mocking tones.
Yeah, it was mocking tones. That's right.
Mocking tones.
Creighton thinks they're all high and mighty. They can come in and beat Nebraska in their own area, and they got a taste of reality is what they got.
That's 20 straight that Nebraska has beaten Creighton.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs. Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Right now, they have tons of Oktoberfest beers, and you can check out their new Empyrean, New Belgium, and Prost selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage shop at 1801 Oak Street. Is your kitchen outdated and in need of a facelift? Kitchen Tune-Up in Lincoln specializes in 1 to 5 day kitchen updates. A 1-day tune-up is like taking your car to get detailed, and a 5-day job can tear out cabinets and put in new ones, and they work on both kitchens and bathrooms. You don't need to worry about a long, drawn-out process that leaves your house a mess for months. It's simply 1 to 5 days with these services. Call Jason at Kitchen Tune-Up today at 402-340-0008 or go to kitchentune-up.com for more info.
Tired of interrupted printing or money-wasting long-term copier contract? Join Cartridge World's no-cost printer program. You get a free brand printer, free service maintenance and repair, free delivery. All this for just buying our high-quality, affordable printer cartridges. Simple agreements and local friendly service, as it has been for more than 25 years. Cartridge World. Contact us today.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? It's so easy. All you have to do is eat lots of bananas, but peels only, and always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Now through September 16th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends September 16th. See club for details.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal, after Sunday's season-opening win 27-13 at the Giants, the biggest question mark for the Broncos currently appears to be health. Here's head coach Vic Fangio on wideout Jerry Jeudy, who was carted off the field in the second half with a lower leg injury.
Definitely got a high ankle sprain. Everything else checked out good. He's going to miss some time. I mean, it's hard to put a timetable on it right now. At this moment, it'll just be recovery.
More surprisingly, Fangio also shared this about right guard Graham Glasgow.
He had an irregular heartbeat going. Started bothering him in the second or third series, and he just kept trying to play through it.
Glasgow went straight from MetLife Stadium to the hospital to get checked out and stayed behind in New York for more testing. Fangio also said linebacker Bradley Chubb, who didn't play in the opener, will hopefully be back on the field soon. Broncos play Sunday at Jacksonville.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
Congratulations, whoever won Collar 4. You got a $15 gift certificate to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We're not doing that segment today because we got things going on. We got people to see, contracts to sign for sure, but we got to talk about Tailgate Tuesday. It's till 2 o'clock today. You can stop by Chick-fil-A. That's where we are all day today. Use your Chick-fil-A app to order and scan to get the rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people. That's, of course, chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade. How's it going for you so far, Bock?
Oh, that's great. Somebody's going to win today. We were gifted some chicken nuggets ourselves. Just delicious.
They were fantastic.
Helped me fill me up for the rest of the show. So I can't complain whenever you have some Chick-fil-A.
I got to the point where I was thinking, I'm a wing guy.
Yeah.
And but these are pretty good. I do dig the nuggets, and that's just the appetizer. They promised us that wasn't the real meal. That was just a snack before we eat a little bit later on. Are you still going to go with the Southwest chicken salad?
I don't know. Now that I'm like halfway full.
Yeah,
it's a big salad. I'm not sure.
That's right. It is a big salad. You could take it home.
That's true. Yeah.
If you
Save
want
some for later.
you could take it home. I don't know if you saw the Monday Night Football game last night, but it was really good. The Baltimore Ravens 33 they had the big lead. They had the 14-0 lead, but the Raiders came back and they win it in overtime. They tie it on a 55-yard field goal, and then in overtime, there were there's some really sloppy play, but quite frankly, in overtime, back and forth. But Derek Carr throws the winning touchdown pass, and the LA Raiders win 33-27.
Las Vegas Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry about that. In Las Vegas, but they win the Thriller last night. So you've had really two good games. You had one great game on Thursday night with the Cowboys and the Buccaneers, and you had last night with Las Vegas winning that game. That's fun. That's a good way to start the season.
Yeah, it is. And of course, the Browns and Chiefs, that was a good game. There's some good action on Sunday. It's a brand new year. The NFC North for you. The Vikings lost, but they didn't lose any ground. Everybody's bad.
Everybody in that division lost.
Yeah.
It's happened maybe 4 or 5 times in the history. There were other divisions. I think the AFC West, everybody went undefeated. So there were, I think, a couple like that this year. So that was kind of cool. I mean, the Vikings had a chance to play a bad Cincinnati team.
Yeah.
Because you knew Green Bay was going to struggle either way to beat New Orleans.
3 points, though. That was a little bit shocking.
Yeah, Detroit, you knew they were going to be on the 49ers. They're Detroit. That's what they do.
Detroit, yeah.
And Chicago, I never know. I never know what they're going to do. They haven't really settled on the quarterback. So that's a bad division, right? That looks like maybe it's Green Bay still.
Yeah.
But they got throttled by New Orleans.
Yeah, it's it's early. You don't want to take too much from week 1, but it doesn't look like a very good division. That's for sure. For me, the Cardinals look pretty good. They're exciting. Chandler Jones, 5 sacks.
That's your team.
Yeah, nobody else really cares about the Cardinals. They're always like they've been a franchise longer than anybody.
Well, they might have the best wide receiver in the entire NFL, and DeAndre Hopkins, and made a great catch again. And Kyler Murray, some of the throws that he makes on the run are just silly. Do you see where he went forward? And then he backed up. He stopped. He backed up. He went from one side of the field to the other side of the field. I think they said he traveled 47 yards for a 15-yard completion. And he just buys so much time in the pocket. That guy is a stud. You guys actually might have a team that could go a long ways.
Yeah, they do. Again, the one thing that always holds me up on that is Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not sure if he's a great coach. He makes a lot of frustrating in-game decisions. But, they now, like I said, Chandler Jones is just incredible. 5 sacks, J.J. Watt on the other side of him. So they're starting to put together a complete team, and I'm excited to see how that plays out moving forward. Just an exciting week of the NFL. College football was great. Yep. It's tough to beat one of those that's why I love September football, especially in the college ranks when the stakes are high. And NFL starting up. That's fun every week. So this is my favorite time of the year.
Well, and it was kind of cool. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning debuted their NFL broadcast. I think it was on ESPN2 last night. I saw some of the clips. They're very funny. They had Charles Barkley on with them. And he's great. I mean, I just laugh. I look at Charles, and I think he's funny. But his football takes are bad. But that's not why you watch Charles necessarily.
Are they better than his college basketball takes? Is the question.
Well, college basketball, he never watches. That's the first time he's ever seen them, and it's blatantly evident. He butchers names and the coaches' names, but
he's still entertaining.
But we still love
great,
Charles.
Yeah.
We still love Charles. And Travis Kelce was also on that broadcast. They had Russell Wilson. Did you watch any of the highlights of that?
I didn't catch too much of that. I am looking forward to. I'm sure they'll do it again. Kind of seeing if that develops into anything. It's been through their SNL appearances and stuff like that.
They're funny guys.
Pretty obvious that they're gonna, and obviously they would have great chemistry. So it'd be great to have a Manning duo in the broadcast with them.
I don't know if you remember the Eli Peyton ESPN commercial. It's like 20 years ago where they're walking through the halls of ESPN and they're taking the tour. I've seen that. I think this is a repeat of. I'm pretty sure this is a repeat of it. And the whole family's there again, and they're kicking each other, and it's kind of spitballs and that type of thing. Those guys are just fun. Peyton's naturally funny. I mean, Eli is sneaky funny.
Yeah.
But Peyton's really, really good. He kind of is the leader of that band, and I think he's going to be good interviewing guests, and they kind of not pay attention for the game for a while, and then they go, whoa, what just happened? So it's kind of fun. I think that broadcast will be really good. And those guys are going to get, even Eli, he's going to get a $10 million offer to do Monday Night Football or something like that if he wants. Either of those guys are going to prove that they're really entertaining. Maybe you start hiring that way. You just hire, remember, who was it? Dennis Miller that got the gig because he was funny in the booth, and they had just Rush Limbaugh for a while, and he kind of went outside the sports realm.
Booger McFarland was there.
Is there anybody outside the sports realm that you would like to see in a football booth? Larry the Cable Guy, would he be good?
I don't think so. I don't really no, I like listening to football people. That's why I like Chris Collinsworth. That's just me. I mean, some people would be a little more entertained by somebody from the outside, but to me, I like listening to football people that I know the game. That's why people love Tony Romo. You can see things coming. He'll explain it to you pretty well. So I mean, that's what I prefer.
Yeah, well, they tried that whole thing. Remember without the sound for a while? They've done that with certain games where they tried without, and people just couldn't stand the silence. I think they wanted some noise other than just the crowd noise. But I don't know. Outside of football, is there anybody that I would want in the booth? I think Larry would be very entertaining because he loves Husker football. He would be great calling Husker football games.
Husker football,
he would have really good, strong opinions, and he would, throw in a,
get her done.
Get her
sort of
done.
thing.
Get her done. After every touchdown, it would be a get her done.
I think that might be good for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. I don't know about the whole
well,
thing.
maybe you could, this, Eli Payton thing might go for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You never know about ratings.
That's true.
Sometimes they can absolutely tank it. We are getting great ratings here at Chick-fil-A. You could see all the people drop by and they wave and they're ordering food and then they're leaving and they're eating it. It's Tailgate Tuesday, and you can stop by either this location at 48th and O or go to the South Point location and use your Chick-fil-A app. You can order or scan it to get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people, chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade. The winner is going to be drawn tomorrow. Box tops. We didn't get to it in the last hour. So what is it again?
Oh, the top 10 rivalries for Nebraska right now. It's hard to pick apart. There's a lot of generational disagreements, so it'll be interesting.
I promise we'll do it next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
No doubt about it, a water softener saves you money. Don't have one? Call the plumbers at Bryant. Just one call and no arm-twisting contracts. For a free estimate, call 467-1111 or go to BryantLincoln.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Tired of interrupted printing or money-wasting long-term copier contract? Join Cartridge World's no-cost printer program. You get a free brand printer, free service maintenance and repair, free delivery. All this for just buying our high-quality, affordable printer cartridges. Simple agreements and a local-friendly service, as it has been for more than 25 years. Cartridge World. Contact us today.
Everyone loves a good deal, and there's plenty of great options right now at Brown Shoe Fit for their summer clearance sale. Check out their multiple sizes and widths and sandals with brands like Clark's, Keen, Atrex, and many more. Hurry in for the best selection because this sale only goes to the end of the month. It's the summer clearance sale at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Coming off a win against Buffalo, the Nebraska football team sets their sights on number 3 Oklahoma. Head coach Scott Frost spoke yesterday about their upcoming opponent.
It's a talented team. Wow, you turn it on and the speed just pops out right away. Every position, the size and speed of the guys. So really encouraging our guys to execute the same way we have been and improve that, but try to do it at absolute fast as possible because I know the speed of Oklahoma is going to be a little different than what we've seen the last couple weeks.
The Huskers and the Sooners kick off at 11 a.m. on Saturday as the big noon game on Fox. The 6th-ranked Nebraska volleyball team will play the 16th-ranked Stanford Cardinal today out in California. This is the third straight top 20 matchup for the Huskers. First serve is scheduled for 7 p.m. on Pac-12 Network and will be carried on the Huskers Radio Network. Monday Night Football saw the Las Vegas Raiders take down the Baltimore Ravens 33-27 in overtime. The Raiders scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, including a 55-yard field goal with 2 seconds remaining to force OT. Next up for the NFL, a Thursday night matchup between the New York Giants and the Washington Football Team. For all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockoven.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I had never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
464-5685, third hour of Tom and Bock. Mailman Dan reminds me that Rush Limbaugh did not do Monday Night Football. He was an ESPN football pregame show guy.
Oh, okay.
They tried a lot of stuff on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
I grew up. Who'd you grow up with?
I believe it was Madden was my favorite one.
Madden's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the standard.
Al Michaels. I liked him with his other partner at Fox a little bit better, but Pat Summerall.
Pat
was one of my
Summerall.
favorites, yeah.
When I was growing up, it was Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire who were doing it. Madden later replaced him, and Pat Summerall then passed away. And of course, he worked with Al Michaels. But he's the standard.
Oh yeah,
he's the guy that everybody copied, whether they admit to it or not. I mean, he was the gruff football coach. Gruden maybe adopts a little bit of that.
Gruden was really good.
Gruden was really good as well. But of course, if I'm going outside the business, I would stick with Larry the Cable Guy. You're right. Probably by week 3, I would hate it. But for the first 2 weeks, I'd really enjoy it. We were talking about injuries from the wide receiver group earlier last hour, and we were talking about those guys are critical. Well, yeah, I'm not saying Omar Manning is the best player ever, but the text line makes a point that he's only caught a couple of passes, but he's critical that he gets on the field and develops the way we want to. All those wide receivers, Oliver Martin, to get him back, to get Vokalek back. Hopefully Austin Allen can play. If you don't have all those guys, you're in trouble.
Well, and Xavier Betts is the one that sticks out to me. There's only going to be a few guys that are going to walk on the field that look like they could play for Oklahoma. And Xavier Betts and for that case, Omar Manning are those guys. Now, I'm at the point where I agree more with the texter than I do, holding on to some hope that Omar Manning's going to be an all-conference wide receiver. At this point, I just have to see something from him.
Right.
So I don't necessarily consider him a huge loss. He definitely garners attention from your eyes when you see him on the field. So maybe even as a decoy guy or somebody that would draw attention for the Oklahoma defense. But I'm more interested in Oliver Martin, who obviously led him in week 1. Getting back, Austin Allen is probably one of their best pro prospects. And more than anything, Xavier Betts. We've said for the last couple of years, hey, that guy looks like he should be playing. He hasn't, for whatever reasons. They drew up a couple plays for him, and he made one of the best catches I've ever seen in my life this last week. And of course, it got called back because of the holding.
Tipped it to himself, and that was not a penalty.
But I mean,
that was a penalty. It was on Ben Hart. That was
right.
That was the holding penalty. That was a holding penalty.
But it had nothing to do with obviously his athleticism and his great catch. You just got to see more from him. Again, there's not going to be too many guys that Nebraska puts on the field against Oklahoma that look like Oklahoma players. So the ones that you do have, you got to get the most out of him, and it's time to start developing that guy and using him. And the cat's out of the bag now. We've all seen it with our own eyes. They need to use him. They need to, even if he knows 3 or 4 plays, 3 or 4 routes, whatever it is. That's what you got to call up every once in a while.
Text line says they're going to need 40 points to win this week, and they're only their ability to score is right around 14. That might be. I don't know how many points they'll need, but if you could tell me that Nebraska ran for 200 yards in this game, even if some of it is gimmicky, where Adrian runs for a 50-yard gain or a 70-yard gain, and then the running backs don't do much after that, if you can get somewhere around 200 and maybe burn some clock and obviously score some touchdowns. I mean, I think it was the first time, in 2 years? Has it been longer that he threw 2 touchdown passes in a game? He didn't do it last year, of course, COVID.
Yeah.
But there's some things to like about how he played. Okay, it was Buffalo. But it was better against Furman. Then it got better, or Fordham. It's better against Buffalo. And hopefully Tulane showed us that Oklahoma is maybe not the world beaters we thought. If they're competitive, I'd just be very happy. I would not be happy with a 23-point win.
Well, and we can, and I completely agree with you. We've talked about it all day long. They're going to need the running game to get going to keep Oklahoma's offense off the field, or at least be able to stick to it, kind of like they did. Maybe it's hard-headed, whatever it is. This past weekend's game plan, that's going to have to be similar to what they have against Oklahoma. But there's no doubt about it. I think you feel a lot better going into this game, and maybe it's not great, but a lot better into this game because of the Adrian Martinez play the last couple of weeks. You might not be convinced that he's going to be all Big Ten and that the old Adrian might not pop up in the bigger games, but he looks like he's playing better ball than he has, or maybe since his freshman year. And certainly that might not have been the case against Illinois, but as the season progresses the last 2 weeks, I'm convinced he could be, it was against one MAC team, so it's not fair to say this, but probably an all MAC type of quarterback. And you might laugh and shrug that off, but that he might not be quite all Big Ten, but if you can get that somewhat of that type of performance like he had last week against Oklahoma, he'll give you a chance.
I still think he's a top 5 quarterback in the Big Ten, and maybe higher than that as you look at some of the performances that have happened so far in the league. Maybe Stroud's still number 1, but Michael Penix certainly isn't number 2 anymore. And I put Adrian athletically against any of those guys in the league. Where are we? We've got to get to box tops. Here we go. This is box 10. Let's go.
All right, my 10 is the top 10 rivals for Nebraska. Of course, this is somewhat of a rivalry week. It just feels weird, It's like a throwback rivalry week. There's not a whole lot on it, but still, I would do the current top 10 rivalries for Nebraska. So a lot of this has some history. Unfortunately, my favorite division that Nebraska's been in, the Big Ten Legends. Yeah, the Legends. Michigan State, that rivalry dropped off. That had some build to it for a minute.
That's right.
Yeah, Michigan would have been fun. Penn State, the permanent crossover. None of those have really carried on. So all of them.
And it felt like they actually had a chance to win that division for a while. And maybe they wouldn't have with Michigan's power as of late. But I liked Legends versus Leaders as well.
Yeah, that was an awesome division. It was better set up, I think, than the West versus the East. Number 10 on my list is Kansas. Not much of a rivalry, I have to admit. I had to stretch the rivalry list at number 10. I think the top 9 are pretty solid. Kansas, though, at one time did play Nebraska 105 straight seasons, which was a record from 1905 to 2010. Granted, Nebraska dominated Kansas throughout most of that, but I think there's, remember the 2007 game where they hung up 76 on Nebraska, so there's a little bit of a rivalry feel there. That's more basketball than football, but they look at us the same way in basketball, I guess.
In 94, all they had to do is kick the extra point. Glenn Mason went for 2 to beat Nebraska. Had they kicked the extra point, that's a great tie for them. There was no overtime, I don't believe, at that time, but that got that Nebraska team into the national championship game.
Yeah, they were pretty good in the mid-'90s. Not really too good for too much time other than that. Mark Mangino's, we talked about before, he had to get it going. Hopefully Lance Lepoid can get it going, but I picked them over some of those Big Ten Legends rivals that I mentioned earlier. Number 9 on my list, how about the $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy and Minnesota? The Gophers actually lead the all-time series 34-25-2, and from 1900 to 1960, they went 29-6-2 against Nebraska.
Wow!
They really dominated that series for a long time. Nebraska and Minnesota would play often, obviously, through that. Since then, it's obviously been more Nebraska. I think they still lead the series as far as the Big Ten play goes. But I love that. That's a budding rivalry.
Don't they still consider like early 1900? Championships? They've got like 20 of those.
They've got a lot of them.
Yeah, they actually were good in football.
Yeah.
And now maybe they're going to be good again until PJ Fleck goes somewhere, maybe USC.
Number 8 on my list, I have Kansas State, still from the old Big 8, Big 12 days. Nebraska won 29 straight against the Wildcats from 1969 to 1997. But boy, that 1998 game stung for Nebraska. Obviously, Eric Crouch got his head nearly torn off, and that broke the streak for Kansas State. They ended up winning 5 out of the next 7 against Nebraska. So that late 90s, early 2000s Nebraska-Kansas State rivalry, it seemed like for a while Big 12 North teams were taking turns being the best team in the Big 12 North once Nebraska went down. That was certainly Kansas State's era, and those games were fun and felt the rivalry the most at that time. Obviously, the Josh Freeman thing years later, but Nebraska ended up winning the last 6 before leaving the conference.
That 98 team was really good for Kansas State.
Yeah.
They had some great teams, and a couple of those for Snyder could have won. Michael Bishop was one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen from that era. A couple of those teams probably should have won the national title. But yeah, you're right. That 98 thing, that guy should be in jail, let alone
assault,
the personal foul that wasn't called in that game.
Number 7 on my list, the one team I think on here that's never been a conference member for Nebraska, but they've played for the national title 3 separate times. Miami Hurricanes. If you remember that 2014 game, that was the feel of a true rival. Of course, in 1983, 1994, and 2001, Hurricanes in Nebraska squared up on the football field for the national championship, and there's no love lost between those two.
Remember
teams.
the Brock Heward call of that game? He was actually cheering for Nebraska at the end of that as Amir Abdullah was chewing up yards.
Yeah.
And Twitter was kind of getting into its own at that point. And so there was a lot of Twitter stuff being sent back and forth.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Teams.
And Nebraska fans were full of hatred that night. It was great.
Yeah. And Randy Gregory, and then got into a scuffle. I mean, that was fun.
That was good.
One of the funnest non-conference games Nebraska's had recently. Number 6 on my list, still, again, from the old Big 8 and Big 12 days, Missouri. Of course, everybody remembers the big game in 1997, but most of the Missouri hate, I think, came from the stages later I was talking about when teams in the Big 12 North kind of shared different times. The Chase Daniel years. He might be one of the most hated players Nebraska ever played.
Jerk. I don't like that guy. We remember the Larry Smith era where they almost beat Nebraska, and, of course, the kick 6. It took the Davison catch and the kick from Chevin Wiggins. There have been some great games in that series. In 1978, Missouri destroyed Nebraska's chance to win a national title. They had just beaten Oklahoma and lost 35-31 to Missouri the week after that. So Missouri has been a thorn in Nebraska's side, but they also gave Nebraska a national title in 97.
Yeah. Number 5 on my list. The next 2 are teams that Nebraska hates, but really a one-sided rivalry so far. Number 5, Wisconsin. 7 straight losses, obviously, to the Badgers. The ones that sting the most, the 2011, the first game in the Big Ten, the welcome to the Big Ten.
Ooh, yeah.
That didn't go well. Obviously, 2012 championship game. The only time Nebraska did beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten was in 2012. They came back and returned the favor as an 8-4, I think 8-5 maybe team entering that game, and just
they stunk it up.
Took Nebraska's. That was the first title since '99. It's all but guaranteed against this team, and that didn't happen, obviously. And then, obviously, 2014 when Melvin Gordon
still running.
Yeah, he's still running, and he nailed those the final nails in the coffin, I think, in Bo Pelini's tenure at Nebraska.
Yeah, well, I think that was a banged-up defensive line that day. They moved Cam Meredith, I want to say, inside for that game. He played defensive tackle, and he weighed like 260. That felt like just a bad matchup, and Nebraska really banged up, but they choked in big games in the Pelini era. I mean, that's all there is to say about it.
Yeah, that was frustrating. And Wisconsin obviously has hurt Nebraska quite a bit since the Pelini era as well.
Yeah.
Maybe not the blowouts. Maybe Nebraska's the stakes on Nebraska's side. It's probably their fault that they haven't been as high, but hopefully Nebraska can shake those demons this year. Number 4 on my list, I have Texas. Texas was 9-1 against Nebraska in the Big 12. 7 of those wins were by 1 possession. They're always heartbreakers to the Longhorns.
Always heartbreakers. And, even in 1999, where Solich had it rolling, I mean, you fumbled Correll Buckhalter on the 1-yard line.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that team would have won the national title. They ended up playing Texas again in the Big 12 championship game, killing them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough. I think Florida State and Virginia Tech, Michael Vick played for the national title, lost to Florida State.
Yeah, so I mean, and some people would have Texas at the top of this list, but I think these other teams deserve it. Colorado's number 3 on my list. They had wins against Nebraska. Maybe Coach McCartney kind of made it the big deal to beat Nebraska. Don't wear red around the offense. In the late 80s, 86, 89, and 90, when Colorado won the national title, they had victories over Nebraska. Obviously, some of those other ones, like 2004 and 2007, Nebraska's first 2 years, they didn't go to bowl games. Colorado was the final team on that. But the biggest one's obviously 2001. Nebraska's never been the same since they took the field against Colorado in 2001.
Well, and I think it was almost a curse that they were allowed to go to the national championship game. I mean, I fought that Nebraska should be the stupid BCS at that time.
They needed like 5 teams to lose in front of them, and they all did.
They all did, but Nebraska had no business in that game with Miami. No business. I mean, and nobody did, by the way, not just Nebraska.
That's right.
That team was just maybe the most loaded team of all time, and they could have named the score, but they were actually pretty nice to Nebraska in that game as far as the scores.
Second half, at least. Number 2 on my list. It's between 2 teams, so I'm going with Iowa. Iowa has won 6 in a row against Nebraska, 7 out of 8. They're kind of the new rival, but I must say I'm putting Oklahoma at number 1 still. And again, it's a generational thing. Some people are not going to understand that going into this game. As much as Iowa has built up the rivalry with Nebraska, it's just hard to say that they've overtaken Oklahoma because there's just not the same stakes on the Iowa games as there was the Oklahoma games. But again, this week, the feeling of this week is maybe making me second guess that because maybe there's just been too much time has passed.
Right. I like the list. I think it's a list that I would have maybe considered a Florida State.
Yeah, you can put them in there.
They weren't on that list, were they?
No.
Okay. I would have considered Florida State just because of the number of times that, of course, they came into Lincoln, big upset. That's what really got their program started. Of course, we just lost Bobby Bowden, but he ruined some seasons. Of course, 93 season, the 94 Orange Bowl, the wide left, Byron Bennett. That became a rivalry, even though it was a friendship between Tom Osborne and Bobby Bowden. And Bobby Bowden gave Tom Osborne the impetus to actually change his defense. He said, it's not really your offense. Your offense is fine, but go to more speed. And they went to the 4-3. Of course, we all remember that. But it's a good list. I'm trying to think of who else I might have on that list. I can't think of anybody.
What would you say about the number 1 rivalry? Are you sticking with Oklahoma?
Oh, it's Oklahoma.
Would you put Colorado ahead of Iowa, or is Iowa?
I would probably put Colorado. Because they ripped your heart out. There were some games on Halloween that they destroyed Nebraska's season. And when Bill McCartney left and took the option away, Rick Neuheisel wasn't the same. He had some good teams, and he recruited probably at a higher level.
It's easy to hate that guy.
Yeah. When he took his players through the building and brought him down at Folsom Field, maybe even at Folsom Field, I thought that was just ridiculous. And it kind of just made me hate him, and the whole guitar playing to his players at night. But now I kind of like him again.
I like him now too. Yeah, now that he's failed at several coaching jobs.
Yeah, he seems endearing. He seems like he's probably just a good guy who happened to coach Colorado.
But it is a generational thing. As we get off the text line, Iowa's number 1 for me. I think a lot of people now, if you want to move away from the past, you got to kind of embrace, the rivals in the Big Ten now. It's just hard to continue to build that against teams that you played over and over and over again. And then, again, the stakes that you have in some of those Colorado or Oklahoma games, not quite there with Iowa. But, sometimes it makes you feel like you're living in the past, too, if you're naming those teams. But, again, I think that's just a generational thing. If you went through those rivalries, those will stick with you. And if you're kind of younger, you're kind of thinking that Iowa game every year feels like a battle of war. I think it's tough, but I don't know if I will ever overtake Oklahoma. And maybe just enough time will pass, and all the people that love the rivalry will die. But
I hate Iowa, and maybe hate them more than Wisconsin. But I think we should hate Wisconsin more than we hate Iowa, because of who did it. Barry Alvarez, played at Nebraska. He coached at Nebraska. Then he took everything good about Nebraska and moved it to Madison and gave them an identity. I think an identity that Nebraska fans, at least as far as the power running attack, would love to have back. And the way they play defense. I mean, they're always top 10 in defense. And a lot of times you look at their athletes and you think, how are they doing it? They're doing it with Nebraska type of dudes, really smart guys, really fundamentally sound, something we haven't seen in this tenure that you thought you might get from not just the current coach, but some other coaches that didn't pan out.
Yeah, we'd love to see that style of playback, but I still think with Wisconsin and Texas and lists like this, it just hurts because they're one-sided rivalries. I mean, you didn't if Nebraska would have got some key victories or some of those big moments, the red out around the world just really hurts. And the Wisconsin thing is just they like basically that was the excitement about going from the Legends to the West was okay. Now we have Wisconsin. That seems to be a natural rivalry that'll work. You got to win some games before the rivalry really takes place. It just feels like they don't probably consider us as much of a rival, so it's hard to get as excited about it.
But we should be pissed because they did all that.
I am pissed.
I'm pissed, but it doesn't do any good. And Nebraska, of course, dominated Iowa for the Pelini era, and his final game was against Iowa.
Not always dominated. They lost.
They dominated. They did lose few, but they won what?
They won most of them.
He won quite a few. I think it was at least. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. He's got a framed T-shirt. That's very
cool.
cool.
The 1971.
The 1971
awesome.
final top 10, Nebraska,
72.
Oklahoma, Colorado, Alabama, Penn State, Michigan, Georgia, Arizona State, Tennessee, and Stanford, the number 10 team in that company, that AP poll. Was that the AP poll?
This is, by the way, somebody visiting us here.
He's visiting me. He's coming. Scooter.
He's got a Billy
Sims.
Sims.
Have a better day. That's a Billy Sims signed post, and it's Billy Sims.
Fumbling.
Is that the fumble?
That's a fumble.
Wow, that's the Jim Pillen, right? Yep. Jim Pillen with the tackle on Billy Sims at the 2-yard line. What's your name? Scooter.
Scooter.
Scooter is showing this picture, and so obviously Pillen makes the tackle on Billy Sims and recovers the fumble. Now he's running for governor. But there are a lot of Pillen boys. Cletus, Jim. There's several Pillen boys that played for Nebraska, but I remember that well. And Nebraska, of course, wins that game. Nebraska's Tom Osborne's first victory over Oklahoma, and then loses the following week to Missouri, as you mentioned, with a very good. Phil Bradley was on that team. That team was loaded with a lot of really good. Kellen Winslow was their tight end.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. James Wilder was their running back. That was a good Missouri team. So looking back, not a horrible loss, but just stings till this day.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Let's get to break because I think Brian Christopherson is waiting to talk to us.
That's right.
BC, our weekly conversation with him, Husker 24/7. We'll do it next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
93.7 The Ticket is hiring. We're looking for a highly confident, driven, and energetic individual to join our team as a sales executive. You can begin your exciting career in sports radio at a locally owned independent station and work closely with our crew of on-air personalities. If you enjoy meeting new people and working with them to solve their marketing needs, this could be the job for you. Head to theticketfm.com for the complete job description and instructions on how you can apply. 93.7 The Ticket and BDP Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Did you guys know that Creighton's never beaten Nebraska in volleyball?
They thought this is their best chance to beat Nebraska because Nebraska won in 5 sets against UNO last week. Oh, you got to be beatable today, right? No.
Mocking tones.
Yeah, it was mocking tones. That's right.
Mocking tones.
Creighton thinks they're all high and mighty. They can come in and beat Nebraska in their own area, and they got a taste of reality is what they got.
That's 20 straight that Nebraska has beaten Creighton.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Andy, when people drive by your lot, they don't see as many new Hondas as normal, but I'm told you have hundreds on the way.
We sure do, Charlie. We have more than 500 to choose from that are either here or on the way. Most of them are inbound.
Do you still have that great financing, Andy?
We do, as low as 0% APR financing on select new Honda.
What about used cars and trucks?
Well, right now we have more than 120 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, in just about any make or model. And we have over 50 certified pre-owned Hondas to choose from.
Andy, that is really great news for your customers. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do-do-do-do-do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
Century Electric is now hiring for experienced licensed electricians. This position will serve around the Lincoln area on both commercial and residential jobs. Century Electric is well established with 40 years in operation. It offers a substantial hiring bonus as well as tons of benefits. For more information or to apply, go online to centuryelectric.com and click the careers tab or call them at 402-467-5550. Come work for a great company today with Century Electric, whose commitment is always to their customers.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
We'll see a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Cooler temps with an afternoon high of around 77. Winds turning out of the northeast at 10. Gradually clearing skies tonight. A low dropping down all the way to 52. Beautiful day tomorrow with mostly sunny skies and a high pushing up near 80. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The decision to replace your air conditioner will save or waste money for 15 to 20 years. Bryant offers some of the most efficient ACs available, up to 26 year. Schedule your free estimate at BryantLincoln.com.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Join the whole Ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Sponsored by Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, Tractor Supply Distribution Center, T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, Planet Fitness, Barnwood and Leather, and Vitalize Health. One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple. Happer and Shaper. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It is Tom and Bock. I'm Tom. He's Jake Bockhoven. Today we're at Chick-fil-A 48th and O. In fact, every Tuesday we're going to be here, or we're going to be at the South Point location. Last week we were at South Point. This week, the O Street location. So therefore, back at South Point next week. Use the Chick-fil-A app to order or scan to get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people, chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, or lemonade, and the winner will be drawn tomorrow. Samari Toure had something interesting to say. Obviously, Nebraska's had their problems in special teams, just fielding punts or being in the way or unable to say a code word. I think Nebraska's is Peter, 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 and you scream that and guys get away from the football. But there have been a couple times, obviously, this year. I think it happened against Fordham. Cam got hit by a punt, and it was recovered by Fordham. Last week, it was Isaac Gifford that got hit. And that was recovered by Buffalo. In week 1, they fielded a punt inside the 2, which led to a safety. That was Cam Taylor-Britt. Cam has continued to be back there, and Scott Frost said, I'm not going to fire him.
Yeah.
I love the guy. He's like my son. He uses that line. In fact, he made the statement, the two guys that are struggling in special teams. Connor Culp was the Big Ten kicker of the year. And obviously Cam Taylor-Britt, who's Nebraska's main punt returner, has struggled in all 3 games, been involved. At what point, Bock, do you just say, you know what, it's time to move on? And maybe it is Samori Toure back there.
Well, it is kind of funny because he said he'd never fire him, but now he's elevated some. Now he's got 3 punt returners as his number 1 punt returner. So they're considering it, and I always thought the wording was weird to say you fire. I mean,
yeah, I'm not going to fire him.
You don't fire somebody in the football field.
And you're a college kid, so you're not really paying. Well, now you're going to be paying them through name, image, and likeness, but you didn't legally before.
But I do think it's time to look at some of those options. And that struck me because it felt like that one might not have been his fault. Right, but it is up to the returner to make sure that everybody knows to get out of the way. And so I don't know how for Frost to bring it up, you would figure that the communication wasn't there on that one. So it's something that they got to figure. He's back there because they think he's their best chance to give them a spark in the return game, but he just so far has not been able to do everything around getting that done. So it's very vital, especially a week like this, that you don't have a mistake like that. I don't know how confident they are in the guys behind him to maybe not have the ceiling of returning a punt for a touchdown, but maybe just fair catching it if that's going to be better for them. So it goes back to that same thing. What's your risk reward here? Where if it's a close game and you don't need a spark, I'd almost go with somebody else if they're doing it well in practice, just to make sure there's no problems.
Well, you remember Jordan Westerkamp, because Nebraska had fumbling problems for a while, even under Bo Pelini. Jordan Westerkamp did it for a while. I remember Rex doing it for a while, who I thought would be more dynamic than he was returning punts. Amir was really good at kickoff returns, but sometimes you weigh how important is it to save them for the rest of the game. And now I wonder about Samori Toure. He had this quote. It sounds like something Santino Panico might say. I have experience catching the ball. That's really what matters. I mean, you're talking about a guy. I would think that Samori Toure, we've seen his ability to run. It looks like he might do something after the catch. He's not going to be Santino Panico. No offense.
Yeah, I always thought it was like would be hard with 3 defenders standing in your face to catch a ball, and there's a lot of pressure on you there. But I guess that's not a whole lot more pressure than a cornerback draped all over you and having his arms stretched out. So
it's got to be one of the worst. I mean, it would be like if being an outfielder and dropping back to the wall and trying to save a home run is one thing.
Oh yeah.
But if somebody else's Dick Butkus is running after you while you're doing that, that's a different story. I mean, and that's the you don't have the focus of attention when you're trying to catch a punt and you're keeping one eye on the guy ahead of you, even if you fair catch it. You're thinking, well,
the other thing is they might pop you. And thank God that's been taken out over the years. But remember, man, guys used to try to line that up perfectly, right when you catch it to drill you, and they'd get there early. Those are some of the worst hits that you'd ever see.
Yeah, well, we saw the best hit and it's Oklahoma week, so I can say this legally. Kelly Phelps, I was a kickoff return, was hit by the hardest hit I've ever seen in college football. John Rood, of course, the uncle of Bo and Barrett Rood, who later played linebacker at Nebraska. John was not a mainstay. His brother Tom, brother Tom was a big mainstay, but John was more of a special teams guy, and that's the best hit in the history of college football. Today would have been targeting.
Yeah.
Because Kelly Phelps laid on the ground what seemed like forever, and they reviewed the hit and decided he had not fumbled, and there was no doubt. They didn't review the hit because there's no reviews, but it's since been reviewed. Obviously, it was clear fumble. Nebraska would have won that game easily, probably, if they recover that fumble, but they also would have had a penalty today if it were under today's rules.
So if they played between 2000 and if they certain eras, they would have won.
If they would have played between those two rules, maybe it would have benefited Nebraska, even though I'm rather concerned or confused about it. But just we're talking about special teams and how important it is to football, and the fact that Nebraska in year 4 can't get it right. Now, I don't blame Connor Culp because he was good last year. There's something in his head, and he says it's a fine line. It's like a golf swing. It's a millimeter here, whatever.
Yeah.
And Scott Frost said, I'm not going to fire him. Similar to the statements of Cam Taylor-Britt. He did say those are two of the best players on the entire team. So that's a good thing to say. But what is your confidence level that Nebraska can fix special teams?
Well, it's not real high because they spent all off season, like they acknowledge that it's a big problem, and they spent all off season with that being one of their key issues to address. Now that you're doing it when the bullets are flying and mistakes are made left and right throughout the game, it's frustrating. It's just, especially when you don't have that dynamic of an offense where you need some big plays in the special team unit. I'm not all that impressed with the kick return unit. Maybe it's the blocking or the scheme there, or just the return men. I mean, they usually run to the first guy and get tackled, and oftentimes misjudge it and don't get back to the 25 where it'd be better just to fair catch it. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of positives on the special teams unit other than the kickoff unit, but even punting's not all that great.
The kickoff team is okay. The kickoff return team isn't always very good. And DP has complained about this, and I haven't watched the personnel like he has, but he thinks Nebraska's best athletes, or at least he has thought that in years previous, their best athletes are not playing enough or highly enough on special teams. And that's where you use the walk-on program, maybe to your detriment in some cases. I have no problem with Andy Janovich playing on special teams because he proved that he was great. And he got in the NFL because of his ability on special teams. Really good player. But not every player is like Andy Janovich or Luke Reimer. And those guys, both of those guys, walk-ons that made it at a high level, but not every walk-on probably belongs on special teams, as harsh as that sounds.
Yeah, no, it's true. You just need to get the best unit out there, and sometimes that's going to be playing more of your starters or more of your key action guys in there. But that should be an opportunity where the walk-ons, it's hard to, as a walk-on, match the speed against like an Oklahoma or something. Right. So you could see mistakes here and there, but that's like guys in the past have really taken hold of that. And you think of a Brandon Rigoni, who never really got too much playing time. Walk-on that never really got much playing time on defense, but he was a great special teams player. You think someone like, I always think the young guys, like remember when Eric Martin and Ricky Thenarce were young? They were special teams demons. Right. And you just haven't seen that in recent years for Nebraska. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's some of the athletes. Maybe it's just not being coached very well, you would think at this point. But it needs to get better. And it's just it's one of those things. You talk about points being left on the field. Of course, Nebraska's not going to be able to have too many points left on the field as far as touchdowns being called back against Oklahoma. But the field goals could be very key, if not, as far as like a game-winning field goal, but just to stick in the game, just to give you a chance, maybe extending the amount of time you were in with Oklahoma from the halftime to into the third quarter. If you hit a field goal, they're going to need that. They're going to need to have confidence that he can go hit him. I'm not too concerned about it as of yet with Culp. 0 for 3 is pretty rough. But two
extra points are rough.
But 2 extra points are rough. You can't miss extra points.
He still contends the third one was good,
and that's fine.
And then stuck inside the upright. He wasn't complaining about it, but he said that third one was good. And I've heard many people say that was. I still don't get how that happened. You talked about special teams, and Brandon Rigoni is always that guy that's mentioned as one of the special team standouts in the Bill Callahan era. And, it's well known that Bill Callahan trimmed down the walk-on program, trimmed it way back. But he would always point to Brandon Rigoni as proof that the walk-on program works, even though he didn't really believe in the walk-on program. Yeah. But look at that guy. I love that guy on special teams. Brandon Rigoni is the reason this walk-on program, or maybe I'm just misremembering that and heckling Bill Callahan for no particular reason.
Well, that's fine. That's fair to do as well.
By the way, he was not as bad. Well, he was really bad. There's no doubt that Bill Callahan was that bad. There's no doubt that he was not good and not good for Nebraska. But he was a great recruiter, and it wasn't his fault that Steve Peterson made just a bogus hire. I contend that. I think he gets a little more blame than he is deserved because I think he's a good football coach. And he was a very good recruiter, and he worked really hard at it. He spent all the time in his office. He wasn't the nicest guy to the media. I think that's one of the reasons we don't like Bill Callahan. But he did recruit Ndamukong Suh. He recruited Prince and, a lot of those guys that could play at a really high level that Bo Pelini then took once he left and made into some of Nebraska's best teams when he left.
Yeah, and it was a huge takeover to go from the option to whatever you were going to go to. But, and we're seeing Georgia Tech still struggle with that right now. Obviously not to the level of dominance they had, but it's a huge change, and Joe Daly was just not going to be a West Coast quarterback, but they didn't have a whole lot. I remember the year after that when they brought Zach Taylor and some other guys, they demoted Joe to fourth string on the depth chart in the spring game. He transferred right after that. And, of course, he called him a Billy C. So things weren't going too well there with some of the chemistry
Billy
eventually.
C.
But,
and then the Sam Keller thing, that was kind of
yeah.
a debacle in that. I know Joe Gans apparently had beaten him out in fall camp, but they still named Sam Keller their guy because maybe they did promise him something that
Yeah, I'm sure
sometimes
they
happens in recruiting. But I don't remember Bill Callahan as harshly as everybody else does. To me, he's more of a cartoon figure. He's just kind of a funny, weird dude who didn't fit the culture, but that's been a really good coach in the NFL who's named, sometimes assistant of the year. I think he's won that a couple of different times. He's not a head coach. And there are a lot of guys out there that should never be head coaches.
Well, for what it's worth, he did. I mean, he had a Big 12 Player of the Year in Zach Taylor that he brought in. He did win the Big 12 North. That championship game, I think they lost 21-7. It wasn't a blowout, which by today's, some of his other games were. Of course, Polini had problems with that. So, I think he was probably better remembered and might be remembered better than Riley in the long run. It's just that the fall from grace from Solich and Osborne, obviously before that, to Callahan was probably bigger than Pelini to Riley, which was still a pretty big fall from grace.
Yeah. But one of my favorite memories, and there are a few from Bill Callahan. Of course, it's Oklahoma week. Share an Oklahoma story.
Good memory.
Blanking hillbillies. He called the Sooner fans blanking hillbillies.
Yeah, and then he did the throat gesture.
That's right. The slash.
Gesture.
Oh, it was great. There were some great things from Bill Callahan. He was a tough guy, but he was just not. He was not a good head coach. That's my Bill Callahan impression.
Yeah,
probably probably too complicated for you. I don't even know if that is a good impression. I think it is actually very bad. So let's go to break and come back. Regroup. Eat a bunch of Chick-fil-A food.
That's right.
As fast as we can, and then eat the leftovers. We'll do that next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
We'll see a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Cooler temps with an afternoon high of around 77. Winds turning out of the northeast at 10. Gradually clearing skies tonight, a low dropping down all the way to 52. Beautiful day tomorrow with mostly sunny skies and a high pushing up near 80. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Andy, when people drive by your lot, they don't see as many new Hondas as normal, but I'm told you have hundreds on the way.
We sure do, Charlie. We have more than 500 to choose from that are either here or on the way. Most of them are inbound.
Do you still have that great financing, Andy?
We do, as low as 0% APR financing on select new Honda.
What about used cars and trucks?
Well, right now we have more than 120 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, and just about any make or model. And we have over 50 certified pre-owned Hondas to choose from.
Andy, that is really great news for your customers. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do-do-do-do-do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
Join DP and Jay Foreman on Wednesday at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. DP will go 1-on-1 at 3 with Husker Online Sean Callahan, and Jay joins in from 4 to 6 to preview the Oklahoma game and more. That's all this Wednesday at Tanner's at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
The decision to replace your air conditioner will save or waste money for 15 to 20 years. Bryant offers some of the most efficient ACs available, up to 26 year. Schedule your free estimate at BryantLincoln.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? It's so easy. All you have to do is eat lots of bananas, but peels only, and always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Now through September 16th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. And get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends September 16th. See Club for details.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Final moments at Chick-fil-A here till 2 o'clock, and then we're going to go in and eat. But you can still stop by Chick-fil-A all day today. Doesn't matter the time. This location, 48th and O or South Point, use your Chick-fil-A app and order or scan to get rewards points. You'll be registered to win a Chick-fil-A meal, a tailgate meal for up to 15 people. Hence the name Tailgate Tuesday, but that includes chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade, and they'll call you tomorrow. Have you decided you're for sure going away from salad now?
No, I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll still do the salad.
Well, you think about that.
Later.
It'll be interesting to see when the 2-minute warning comes. You're in line and you have to make that decision, and then actually make an order. Sad news: Norm Macdonald has lost his apparently very private battle with cancer and passed at the age of 61. I loved Norm Macdonald back. I just thought he was one of my favorite comedians. He was so dry and so weird. I didn't like some of his sports shows necessarily, but Burt Reynolds, Turd Ferguson was phenomenal on Saturday Night Live.
Absolutely,
very funny. I thought he was one of the better news anchors ever in the history of Saturday Night Live. He just made me. He wasn't that offensive. He wasn't like, I'm trying to get you. He was just more for a funny line, and I thought he was really, really good. And I loved comedians in cars drinking coffee. One of my favorite episodes was Norm Macdonald with Seinfeld. So sad news that he's passed 61.
Yeah, it is. He's great. I always, I mentioned the other week how I like the Drew Carey show. He'd show up on there once in a while too. Of course, remember him from SNL. One of my favorite comedians too. It's tough news today.
There you go. Let's eat the leftovers to round out the show. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, San Francisco clinched a playoff berth with a win over San Diego last night. It's their first playoff berth since 2016. They were 9-1 odds to make the playoffs. They've done that. They're 40 to 1 to win the division, and that could happen. That's a good odd, probably. And then if 101 to 1 to win the World Series. Don't you wish you would have put like $1,000 on San Francisco before the season?
Yeah, I wouldn't have mind doing it. There's a couple of years ago when they were winning every odd year, wasn't it? It was like every other year.
Yeah.
So if you would have continued that, you'd be pretty happy. But I mean, it's one of those ones you'd wish you could have back, I suppose.
Speaking of baseball, Andrew Benintendi, Royals outfielder, has been named the AL Player of the Week. He's batting .500. He had 14 RBIs and a .929 slugging percentage. They're only 17 back. There's still time, right, Bock?
I don't know about that. I wouldn't hold out hope for that. I know Happer's got he wants him to get to 75 wins. I think he made a bet or something like that on there. But I'm happy for Benintendi, of course, a former World Series champion with my Red Sox.
We picked him up from your Red Sox.
Yeah.
You guys gave up on him, and we breathed new life into him, and now he's good again.
That's right. And the Royals are bad, and the Red Sox are better.
The Red Sox still have a chance.
Yeah.
I think they're second in the wild card right now, tied with the Yankees. The secondary ticket market has dropped considerably for Saturday's Nebraska-Oklahoma game. You can get in once $300. No. Face value $225. No lower. Closer to $85.
Wow. Maybe if I wasn't working here, I'd make a trip down to Norman. I think I got some post-game and pre-game stuff to do, so that'll be exciting. But, that's a little bit disappointing. But, I think, again, that the wind out of the sail of that Illinois game, I wonder how much that would have changed if they had won that game. There'd be a lot more hype going into it. So, But as far as Nebraska fans go, please buy those tickets. Go. Let's have another big takeover down there in Norman.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a takeover. We always say this, and we talked about it briefly, but I do want to get your take on it. Nebraska has run a bunch of zone reads. If you think of Nebraska's identity run, what do you think of?
Yeah, I suppose that's it, because they just don't have – the problem is you usually want to have a lot of success with your identity run. They don't necessarily have that.
No.
They do it.
They do it.
They get 1 or 2 yards once in a while. We joke a little bit. Sometimes they have a little bit more success than that, but it just hasn't been that great. But at least, again, to me, the game plan last week, it was encouraging that they stuck with it because they're going to need to do that this week and at other times in this year is just drain some of that clock and rely on your defense. That's got to be the game plan for Nebraska this year. That's your strength.
During a 7-year stretch, we talked about this briefly, from 1992 to 1998, Omaha lost 40 games. That's the same number of games Nebraska has lost in the last 7 years. Do you see any parallels? Oklahoma in the 90s, who bounced back. Nebraska now who's going to bounce back.
Well, I do think it eventually will happen. There's just too many people that care, too much money poured in at Nebraska. You just got to get the right guy in, and obviously we were hoping that Scott Frost was that right guy. For Oklahoma, they had a few coaches running, like Schellenberger gave it a shot there. Former Nebraska defensive lineman, Coach Blake, gave it a shot there. So, it usually happens to every program. You have a couple bad hires in a row, you'll have a downtime.
Well, I think Nebraska is eventually going to get back. I don't know what to. At least to Pelini. You see it at Iowa. They're good.
Yeah.
You see it at Wisconsin. They're good. Matt Campbell, good.
Yep.
Teams that are in our neighborhood are good. Kansas State's not that bad.
Yep.
Nebraska will come back. To what extent? I think they'll come almost all the way back, if not all the way back, because of the passion, the care factor. I've always said that. That it's a blessing and a curse, the care factor of Nebraska football. It's happening this Thursday night. Number 1 versus number 2. Bellevue West versus Millard South. South has blowout wins over Millard North and over Elkhorn South and Millard West. Bellevue West just barely got by Creighton Prep, but Bellevue West has the big names. They have Caden Helms, who is bound for Oklahoma, the wide receiver. They also have Micah Riley, the tight end. But who do you got in that game Thursday night? Number 1 versus number 2, Bellevue West versus Millard South.
That's a tough one to call. And I honestly don't follow high school football as closely. Probably get a great prediction on that one. But it'll be interesting. Usually, you get those matchups. It's probably maybe, when the playoffs come around, you usually see that will be a rematch maybe for the championship game. I suppose I'll side with Bellevue West on this one.
I'm going to go Millard South. They've got 3 big wins, and Bellevue West kind of struggled with Creighton Prep, but I'm usually wrong on predictions. We're almost always wrong on our predictions. So I'm going to keep that consistent with that prediction. I have no idea, but that'll be a fun one to watch on Thursday night. Nebraska-Michigan State game, it's set. It's going to be a 6 o'clock kickoff on FS1. So next week, that means Nebraska will have back-to-back night games because Northwestern is also a night game. That's 6:30. That's homecoming, October 2nd. Are you excited about a little night fever?
Yeah, we've talked about how, different times the games are preferred for, it seems like, different ages of people. I like the night games, though, especially the home ones. It's always going to be fun, even on the road. But the home games at Memorial Stadium, there's nothing better than that.
Nebraska versus big game tonight. College volleyball, Stanford, number 16 versus Nebraska, now number 6. Who you got?
Well, they're just going to have to clean up that marker board, make sure Stanford doesn't drawing anything in their preseason meetings or their pregame meetings. But, of course, they have the Huskers bouncing back.
Absolutely. Get here at Chick-fil-A 48th and 0. Next week, we're going to be at South Point. Use your app and save and then win that tailgate meal. We are leaving. Thanks, Bock. Beautiful job. Happy hour is next. Bye-bye.
Experiencing increased body fat,